into something I've never done. There's no one here but me, but I'm gonna watch something while it downloads. Fucking nuts. Crazy. Butts. Let's watch a Ryan George video. That sounds like a good idea. Let's see. And then I'll play Diablo when it's downloaded.
This video is sponsored by Sheets and Giggles. More about them at the end of the sketch. Hi there, hello, welcome to this new thing that I'm starting. Hi there, what the heck is this place? I got a dirty little cloth rag over my shoulder, right? Yeah, that's where am I? Well, let me ask you something. Do you like slightly poisoning yourself? I dabble in slightly poisoning myself, sure. Well,
So do
great.
I.
Well, what if I told you this was a place where you could do that? I tell you, I already kind of do it everywhere. I have a bit of a poisoning myself problem, you could say. Well, it sounds like you're the perfect kind of person for the thing I'm starting. I am? Yeah, see, what if I told you you could poison yourself here and it'll cost you a whole lot more than it would at home?
There is something about bars. I don't know. I kind of like going out to bars and restaurants. Just the atmosphere, I guess.
Say that doesn't sound
Even though drinking at
super
home's a
good.
lot
What if I
easier.
told you I'm gonna play music so loud you won't be able to carry a conversation? I'd say that's not a thing that I want. Okay, I'm gonna stop phrasing my questions like that because it seems like you're just seeing downsides here. Okay, starting over. So look, you're walking down the street, right? No, I'm not. In this imaginary scenario, you are. Oh, where am I going? I don't know. How do I look? Fine.
No, I'm
Nice.
not.
Okay, so you're walking down the street, looking fine. Yeah, and so you say to yourself, I could really go for some poison right about now. That does sound like me. So you gotta go buy a bottle of poison from the store, bring it all the way home or to a park or something. That sounds like a whole thing, does it not? Am I right?
I haven't drank in a park since I was in high school.
That does sound like a thing, yeah. So what I'm offering you is you come here and I'll sell you poison and you drink it right here. But it'll cost more. Many times more, yeah. Can you do any better on the price? You know, now that you mention it, I can do a little better on the price. I can maybe mix a bit of water in with the poison and that'll be a much better price on my end. What? I'd make a lot more money. You'd be none the wiser. I feel like you shouldn't admit that to me. Oh yeah.
I've ordered some drinks that I question if there was even alcohol in them, so.
Yeah, pretend I didn't say that. All right, so what do you think? I mean, so it's just a room where you poison yourself and it costs a lot of money? Well, no, I mean, I've got some other stuff. Like what? I got a toilet that never has been and never will be cleaned. Why are you raising your voice? I'm not cleaning it, all right?
They're pretty passionate
that
about
thing stays
that.
brown. That's super gross, but okay. I'm also gonna have a person standing behind a long counter and their job's gonna be to serve people poison and also to actively ignore the people trying to buy poison. Those seem like a bad combination of tasks. I don't know about this whole place, man. Oh, did I mention every surface is gonna be sticky? You didn't, but that's not a positive for me. Really, I prefer when
that
things
is so
aren't
true,
sticky.
though.
That's just a personal preference. Okay,
just
and I feel like
alcohol
I'm not
everywhere.
painting this picture for you properly. Okay, just try to imagine this, right? You're standing here, you got a glass of poison in your hand, there's music playing. Oh, that is incredibly loud. I told you, yeah, so you're drinking your poison, you're talking to somebody. This volume isn't conducive to conversations. What? It's too loud to talk. Okay, and also I forgot to mention, you gotta picture this place full of sweaty strangers. Ugh, that's an important part of this too. So many sweaty strangers that you can't move around. And they're all gonna be drinking poison too, so they're gonna be intoxicated, belligerent. Is a fight gonna break out? Yes. Dude, I gotta be honest, this does not sound like a good idea. Some of the intoxicated people will be women. I'll take one glass of poison, please.
There it is.
Hi there, hello, it's me, I'm the ad.
This is funny how universal that is. The bar experience. Oh, I haven't seen this. Usually watch these videos on my personal YouTube account.
Gods.
But I like Charlie.
Character growth. It's an extremely important tool when it comes to storytelling, and it's also an extremely important
I need to close Overwatch. I was wondering what I was hearing in the background.
part of getting older. As you age, you're going to go through a metamorphosis.
I miss
Character growth. It's an extremely important tool when it comes to storytelling, and it's also an extremely important part of getting older. As you age, you're going to go through a metamorphosis, both physically and likely mentally as well. So, today I'm going to talk about my recent
there's really no way
character
around
growth.
it.
You see, my friends, I have grown, not in height, but in wisdom and experience. And I look back at the Charlie of old with disappointment that I could ever be so naive and short-sighted.
Not with height.
5, 6 years ago,
Short-sighted.
maybe, I was a very outspoken advocate of digital downloads. I used to preach the gospel that physical...
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously where this was going, but I've been nervous about digital downloads since they started. I absolutely love how convenient they are. You can play it on at midnight, all that shit, but I like owning my games, and all this shit about not being able to own your shit anymore is really starting to scare me.
media is a fossil, it's archaic, and we need to wash our hands of it and get into the digital age. Ones and zeros are the future. Tangibility is cringe. How wrong I was. Those words are like venom leaving my lips now. In recent years, I sing a much different tune. I now believe physical media is more important than ever, because we have seen time and time again the evils of not actually owning what you pay for.
To be fair with this point too, I mean, there's no way anybody could have seen how predatory this would get. I don't know. You could definitely have speculated, but to say that it would actually get to a point where developers are saying that we shouldn't own the games, period. I don't know. I didn't expect that.
The reason I'm talking about this is because Ubisoft just went full mask off saying gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games. Fundamentally, that's kind of the point they were boiling down. Basically, he was saying that for subscriptions to truly take off, gamers need to be more comfortable not really owning their products.
I don't agree with that take
I don't have a
at
crystal
all.
ball, but when you look at the different subscription services that are out there, we've had a rapid expansion over the last couple of years, but it's still relatively small compared to the other models. One of the things we saw is that gamers are used to, a little bit like DVD, having and owning their game.
We're seeking expansion on console as the likes of PlayStation and Xbox bring new people in. On PC, from a Ubisoft standpoint, it's already been great, but we are looking to reach out more on PC. One of the things, yeah,
Games. That's the consumer shift that needs to happen. They got comfortable not owning their CD collection or DVD collection. That's a transformation that's been a bit slower to happen in games. As gamers grow comfortable in that aspect, you don't lose your progress. If you resume your game at another time, your progress file is still there. That's not been deleted. You don't lose what you've built in the game or your engagement with the game. It's just about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. Obviously, this statement
is such a dumb take. You're paying to own the fucking game. I still have 2 boxes of DVDs. I definitely understand the gamer's perspective with that. This dude has 2 boxes of DVDs that he hasn't touched in a decade, and he's saying that he understands the perspective, bro. When you have, I have like 5 different Nintendo consoles that I can play games from my childhood because it's so fucking hard. But as people embrace that model, they will see that these games will exist, the service will continue, and you'll be able to access them when you feel like it. That's reassuring. That is not reassuring.
With the game. It's just about feeling comfortable with not owning your game. Obviously, this statement didn't land super well, just a full-blown faceplant, especially because it's coming from Ubisoft, which is a company that has a worse reputation than asbestos. Nobody really likes Ubisoft in the gaming community, so hearing them say this kind of shit definitely made it taste even worse. But it's also nothing new. It seems everything wants to trend towards subscription-based services, and it's also not even new in gaming to not actually own your games. Biggest example is Steam. When you buy a game on Steam, you don't own it. In fact, in your agreement with Steam, you even agree that if you break the rules with Valve and they shut down your account, you don't get your games back. You don't get refunded, and you don't get the games anymore. It dies with the account.
You know, something I've thought about a lot is how valuable my Xbox account is because of all the games I have access to. Like, you don't need the game discs. All you need to do is be able to log in and say you're me, and you can play all these fucking different games.
So it's not unusual in this space to not actually own your products, but Steam is just a really good service with it that most people have trust in. You know what people have no trust in? Fucking Ubisoft. But going beyond that for just a moment, I truly think it is vital to actually own what you pay for, like a physical copy of it. The biggest example I keep giving is SpongeBob SquarePants. If you wanted to watch SpongeBob SquarePants start to finish right now, you could. It's through streaming services, but you're missing the best episode, the Panty Raid, because it got censored and pulled from streaming services along with another episode as well.
That's such a
classic.
If you wanted the
complete SpongeBob
What's the other one that got pulled?
You can't get it through the official.
What's the other one that got pulled? Midlife Crustacean. That's the Panty Raid one. What's the other one? Oh, it's the quarantine episode. I remember that one too. Where they with the clam flu and they quarantine everybody in the restaurant. Weird.
Channels. Your only options are to either have the physical media on the DVD box sets for the seasons, or you pirate it. That's it. I'm going off a little tangent here. I'm taking a dusty little path down a dirt road, but this is something I've talked about a lot recently on stream. When Dunkey released his video on all the streaming platforms that are popping up, which is becoming a huge headache because there are more streaming platforms.
Yeah, I saw that video. I'm sure you guys did too. If you're fucking watching this.
Popping up than there are stars in the night sky, you can't really get a convenient experience anymore because everything is so divided. The best example Dunkey provided was for trying to watch the entire Pokemon series. You have to go to like 15 different streaming platforms back and forth. So like seasons 1 through 5 on one, season 6 on another, then back to that first one for season 7. Then you have to go to like a completely separate one for season 8 and 9, and then to a fifth one for season 10. Like it's just all over the place, broken up like fucking Dragon Balls across the internet.
Yeah, all these
It's becoming
licenses.
extremely expensive, extremely hard to keep track of what you can watch where. You have to be like Charles Xavier and Cerebro with all these different streaming services pop up just to connect the dots on watching a complete series or
Streaming is the worst thing that's happened to TV shows and movies in a long time. Like I like streaming. I've been fucking paying Netflix since they first introduced streaming, the original Q and all that shit. I don't have Netflix anymore. Right now I'm paying for HBO and Amazon, but Amazon Prime is different in my opinion. I have someone else's Disney Plus.
a complete series of movies because they're all over the place with different deals, leading to them being scattered like Horcruxes. It's a fucking nuisance. And it's significantly more expensive than if you had just bought the physical media. You could save so many doubloons as if you just purchased the complete series of it.
Right now is the time to start buying physical media, by the way. It's going to start disappearing, it's going to start being more expensive, and you're going to regret not doing it.
Physically, and own it. Actually own it. And in that situation, you don't lose access to it unless you misplace it or throw it in the trash or a burglar breaks in and steals it. They have to pry it from your cold dead hands to get your fucking complete Pokemon DVD set. But through streaming services, you are inevitably going to lose it because things come and go from streaming platforms every fucking day.
But even with games, I keep pausing it and I'm sorry, but even with games, you buy a game from the store, you're just buying a little key that says you can play the game. You're not buying the game anymore. You have to, like, when you get home from GameStop, if you buy the physical property, do you still have to download the entire fucking thing?
So eventually, what you paid access for to get is going somewhere else, and you're probably going to have to buy a subscription to another service to continue to have access to it. It super sucks. And if anyone's got their thinking caps on here, all roads lead to piracy here. I'm not advocating for piracy.
It's so true.
Mind you. I'm just saying it's a natural byproduct by offering such a dog shit service.
Some of these games are inextricably tied to people's childhoods. Like the Legend of Zelda games, I think are an excellent example of games that are impossibly hard to play that everybody loves.
It was actually Gabe Newell of Valve who famously said, piracy is a service problem, meaning that if you're providing a bad service, it's going to lead to people pirating your shit.
Look at Spotify. Spotify is the perfect example of that. The music industry realized that they didn't have a choice. They had to either make an app that people paid for legitimately and that musicians got paid for, or they let piracy be the thing that ruled. Like, I remember in high school, I used LimeWire. Everybody used LimeWire. Or, like, I used Transmission to download full discographies and put them into my iTunes library. Like, yeah.
Because it's significantly easier than going through the proper channels. And that's the point we've reached. If you're trying to legally purchase things or go through the official means of getting what you want, it's a headache and it's hard. If you just pirate it, not only is it easier, but you also get the complete package, and it's not going anywhere if they decide to take it to a different streaming platform, or in the case of gaming, if they decide to like take the game down or shut it off or something like that.
Like Nintendo's been doing. They shut down the DS store, and I think the Wii U store. Or, yeah.
You own it. That's
Maybe
another
the Wii
huge
store.
benefit. And you get the complete experience, like with SpongeBob, where you get the episodes that are currently censored. So all of this is just increasing piracy prevalence.
It's got
So
SpongeBob
put
on
that
the
in your
brain.
pipe and smoke it, Ubisoft and all of the other suits that for some reason aren't seeing what every other sane person in the world is. It's just baffling because it doesn't take a genius to see this. Everyone sees how frustrating it is. And for Ubisoft to say like, hey, you know what? It's time you get more comfortable not owning your games.
Yeah,
It's really
this is a you
out
problem.
of touch.
That's literally them saying this is a you problem. Get with it. It's happening.
Especially, again, from Ubisoft. Keep in mind, they offer Uplay, which is probably the biggest joke the gaming community has ever been subjected to. And the only ones laughing at that comedy is Ubisoft, how they got away with releasing something so trash. It's baffling how bad Uplay is, but that's a whole different can of worms. Point is,
Uplay has been around. I remember Uplay on the Xbox 360 playing like Assassin's Creed. Which one was that? Assassin's Creed 3 when you're in the American Revolution or whatever. That shit's always been terrible.
right now, I think it is more important than ever to actually own what you pay for. I've just had a complete perspective shift on this topic over the last couple of years because we keep seeing how detrimental it is when you don't actually own the product here in
I think that's completely fair.
gaming in particular. So yeah, I think Ubisoft is not wrong about this being kind of the future for gaming, where it's probably going to end up with everything offering some kind of subscription-based service, but it's not exactly a future to start pumping your fist over. I really do think owning the product is extremely important now, because we see how easily it can be snatched away for any multitude of reasons. So yeah, just wanted to talk about this a little bit because it kind of got thrust back into the limelight here with Ubisoft making these statements, and it's something I've been talking about on stream for a little while now. That's about it. So yeah.
If you're a gamer, you gotta worry about it. There's no ignoring it. He's 100% right.
I was an extra in the Hunger Games mocking
That's his... I don't think I've ever had that start playing when I go into his channel before. I haven't seen this video either. I'm gonna go ahead and watch
If you want to get yourself a
Hello and welcome back to
Charlie is the consistent GOAT right now. He just always cranking out good content.
Weirdos in the Wild. The best way to start your morning is with a big frown on your face, so get ready to wear that with pride. We've got some really interesting specimen here today, so let's go ahead and take a peek at our first one. Our first journey begins with a cold call here like a telemarketer. This guy reaches out saying, hey, remember me? And get used to seeing
This dude spelled me, M-I? Oh god, that's a huge red flag. Immediately.
me spelled that way, because he only speaks about himself as if he's talking through the We Me channel from back in the day. And she responds by saying, hey, I think so, from blank, which is middle school. So they knew each other in middle school, and I'm assuming it's been quite some time since then, because then a couple months later he reaches out again saying, hey, you have kids yet? It's already off to an odd start. They're clearly into their adult years
would
here,
he
and
even-
this guy's thinking
maybe he's
about
still-
her from middle school.
Maybe he still had her number? I don't know how else he would have gotten her number.
And then reaches out a couple months after making initial contact just to ask if she has kids currently. And it only gets more strange from here. She responds saying, hey, I don't have kids yet, why do you ask? He goes, just asking, you have a boyfriend? I do have a boyfriend. Do you have a girlfriend? Can I tell you something?
Jesus.
And that's how you know this is about to go straight into the shitter here. That question,
The
can I tell you
straight to I
something,
can I tell you
always
something?
seems to precede the most foul thing.
It's like, if this dude was just waiting for that. He didn't care about the rest of this. All he cares about
To
is
go
whatever
straight
it is
into the shitter here.
that he's talking
That
about.
question, can I tell you something, always seems to precede the most foul thing you'll ever hear in your life. I've read so many of these texts and watched so many bad romance videos recently that this is one of the more concerning questions you could be asked. can I tell you something, or some variation
You should
of
probably
it.
just
I'll also
say
just
no.
never understand the purpose of typing something like that. Just fucking spit it out. Say it with your
I
whole
agree.
chest here. What's the point in acting like some kind of shy anime girl? Oh, can
Whoops.
I tell you something? Like,
It's like asking,
what's
can
the
I ask
response
you a
going to be to
question,
that?
dude?
No? You've made it impossible for someone to shoot that down, because then the conversation immediately gets hostile. So everyone has to say, like, yeah, I guess you can tell me something. So just do it. Rip the band-aid off. You're going to say something ridiculous anyway. Just say it without asking for permission, because we all know you're just going to fucking blabber about it anyway.
It's juvenile. It's like, I remember doing that back in middle school, elementary school, asking my friend to talk to a girl for me. It's that exact same energy.
She says, yeah, what's up? However, even if she declines saying, no, you can't tell me anything, leave me alone, bozo, it wouldn't have stopped this maniac. He goes, no grill frimmed. So I believe he has entered this, like,
Real
flow state of
frimmed?
horniness, and it's clouding his vision.
Like, you wouldn't even catch me typing like that if I was shit-faced at the bar. It makes me think of my aunt, who doesn't know that punctuation exists. Oh, by far, the hardest messages I've ever had to read in my life were from her.
So he can't type properly. When we was in middle school, I wanted, period, to do this to you. And accidentally drops like a fucking hyperlink here. Do what? Like, when you were in skirt, I want to make you mine. Hope you don't get mad.
This dude a caveman?
What an outrageous creep. Hey, was just thinking about you in middle school and how
There's
in
no
middle
way
school
it's
I wanted
real.
to make you mine. Don't get mad at me, tee-hee. Clearly caught off guard and uncomfortable, she goes, oh, it was a long time ago. No reason to get mad. And I think this emboldens him, because she says, there's no reason to get mad. So he starts rubbing his hands together. Oh, okay. And then he sends a message that he deletes. He unsends it. So there was something so...
You can unsend a message? I didn't even know that was a thing. Is that just only on iPhone? Because I think this is iPhone. I didn't know you could do that. That's almost worse than just letting your message be there. Because then it's like leaving like a horror hook open or something. You just let the imagination run wild.
It's a message that he deletes. He unsends it. So there was something so bad there that even this shameless sack of cringe was like, ooh, no, that's too far. I'm using my mulligan. So he unsends it. But the original poster here, she apparently saw it and said that the message he unsent was saying that he wanted to pull down her panties and put his fingers inside of her. And then he goes, if I were to do this to you, what, you let me? The way he talks is so frustrating.
Oh
it's so
my
broken
God.
and disjointed. It's like communicating with Dobby if Dobby was hitting whippets. Clearly, she declined such a generous offer, saying, no, I have a boyfriend. I mean, back in middle school, I wasn't interested in dating or sexual activity when I was in middle school. I wanted you really bad. Oh, okay.
Dude, there's no
Gets him
way
with the Eeyore.
this is a real conversation. There is no goddamn way that this is a real conversation. Did he say how old they were? I don't think he did.
'Cause, dear.
I
Oh,
went
it's
too
already
far.
such unleashes the demon. She says, I'm a bit confused as to why you're telling me this now, because obviously anyone would be confused getting this shit out of the blue. It's really creepy. And then he goes, 'cause,
She shouldn't
dear.
even-
Oh, it's
She shouldn't even be engaging him, but obviously that's hindsight.
already such an awful fucking start. Dropping dear like this, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. In those days, I want to pull down
Anybody who calls people dear, honey, gal, sweetie, any of that, you're a fucking creep, by the way.
your panties. Not even a little bit, dear. Or excuse me, not even a little bite, dear. You there, lol? Can I ask you a personal question? When you were in middle school, you there? He is so
Oh my
fixated on
God.
middle school in particular.
Yeah,
That's
dude, this
the
dude
big
is
thing
stuck
for
in
him
middle
here.
school.
And he keeps talking about pulling her panties down. It's so unhinged. You there? He keeps checking to make sure there's a pulse here, that she hasn't abandoned him and called the police or something. Can I tell you
12 to
something
13-year-old
that I want
me.
to do to you in middle school? Or are you mad at me, Lou?
I thought she was saying 12 or 13 years ago for a second. I thought we were going to be able to tell how old they were now, but nope.
If you didn't have a boyfriend, you let me do things to you? You there? Surprisingly, she was still there and hadn't blocked him yet. So she says, no, because I'm not interested. I don't really know you at all. Somehow, she was able to resist his charm. I can't believe Casanova's silver tongue here was powerless against her. He says, I know, lol. Also, it's a bit weird that you're talking about a 12 to 13-year-old me and still being sexual about it. Exactly. It's so fucking weird.
It is. It's super fucking weird.
Hope you not mad at me for this thing.
Him spelling me M-I is almost weirder. Like, it's not weirder, to be clear. But I don't understand. Why? Like, why? Is he doing it on purpose? Is it he really thinks you spell me M-I? Because that, like, there's no way that that's right. Like, it would autocorrect for you, wouldn't it?
And she says, please don't contact me again. The vibe I get from this guy is Freaky Fred from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Just reading what he keeps saying to her is so unnerving because he's talking about a middle school version of her. He's trying out that sexual predator riz here,
I don't know that reference.
And it did not work at all. I'm going to bless you with a little bonus one here. Let me show you how not to flirt with someone you're interested in romantically. So it seems like they were talking a little bit before these screenshots were taken. He says, you play video games? Like, other than Candy Crush and Pokemon.
Oh, wow.
And she goes, yep, what gave it away? Cool. Not many chicks that are, like, into real games. This is just your classic flop from a...
I mean...
Predator gamer, bro. Ugh, girls only...
There's no way that this is real, right? It feels like a parody.
Cool. Not many chicks that are, like, into real games. This is just your classic flop from a Redditor gamer, bro. Ugh, girls only like Candy Crush or Pokemon, fucking Sims or Barbie Jeep Racing. They don't like real games like me, a fucking man. Call of Duty, Battlefield, BioShock, Big Rigs Over the Road Racing, Madden 24. But you...
BioShock is the only one out of all four of those that I would agree with.
You're different, m'lady. You're not one of those normal chicks that likes those fake games.
BioShock
you can appreciate
is the best.
These gyms that I like. Most chicks can't do that. I don't know why.
There's no way he just put
he says,
BioShock in there.
Video games? Like, other than Candy Crush and Pokemon. And she goes, yep, what gave it away? Cool. Not many chicks that are, like, into real games. This is just your classic flop from a Redditor gamer, bro. Ugh, girls only like Candy Crush or Pokemon, fucking Sims or Barbie Jeep Racing. They don't like real games like me, a fucking man. Call of Duty, Battlefield, BioShock, Big Rigs Over the Road Racing, Madden 24.
Okay, I did mishear him, but BioShock doesn't fit among those examples.
But you're different, m'lady. You're not one of those normal chicks that likes those fake games. You can appreciate these gyms that
Madden
I like.
is definitely a fake
Most
game.
Most chicks can't do that. I don't know why. Must be periods and pheromones or something, but you are rare, m'lady. You like real games. Like, I just don't know why anyone would try something like this. It's just immediately confrontational. It makes you look like a whack loser. And everyone knows it too, so she calls that out saying, really? Gonna try that one? Because it's so pathetic. And he goes, what? It was a compliment. And she just says, whatever. And then that really sets him off. So, a guy who you are already desired to be intimate with gives you a compliment, you get bitchy? And then he doesn't get a response, obviously.
What bitchy. And then to have the nerve to say, "Are you ignoring me now?"
And then it comes back later saying, "Are you ignoring me now?" She said, "You live in a different country than me." But the fact that he immediately just gets this out of control, like, what? It was a compliment. What? Most girls are stupid. Girls go to Jupiter to get more stupider. You didn't go to Jupiter. You stayed here with me, playing real games. Why are you getting so
Like a
bitchy about
smart
it? I was
woman
being
would.
nice to you. Oh my goodness, nice guys never win. And now you're ignoring me? Oh god. He also just
Farewell,
types
my
like a
lady.
Redditor, like his response being, why? A guy who you already desired to be intimate with shows you a little affection and gives you a little compliment and you get bitchy? Like, that is the actual quintessential Redditor response right there. Just go full Poindexter on it. A man who you had already desired to be intimate with gives you a compliment. Then the whole conversation goes
There is
cattywampus and he decides to
no self-awareness. That's the problem for these people.
bring out the claws and just get mean. You're a fucking cosplay girl. It's not like it's real work. You get paid to be hot for people. And then she just goes, yeah, it's not gonna work. Don't text me back. Goodbye.
I think
Totally
that was a
reasonable
good
response.
call,
This guy's
yeah.
just immediately shitting on her for nothing she did wrong. She's done nothing wrong.
That's the response of somebody who thinks the world owes them something. And every time they don't get what they want, they feel like it's everybody else's fucking fault.
At all. This guy's just a loose cannon. Women like you are always so sensitive. I'm just being honest about things. If you can't handle that, I don't think you intellectually compatible with me. Oh, all the Reddit check marks are being ticked right now. I'm very sorry that you feel like I was being mean or sexist or whatever, but I wasn't. I hope you learn to be less bitchy. Men.
The best way to convince somebody that you're not being sexist or racist or anything is to just tell them that you weren't being sexist or racist.
Don't like that in women. And you're already past your good years. And they say chivalry is dead. That's how you do it, gentlemen. Excellent work here, and I have no doubt they're getting married soon.
I'm honestly, yeah, I'm
So
surprised
he
that dude's
blames
single.
her for everything that went wrong. He seems to think she was being unreasonable and that he was just being honest, which is crazy. It's so sad how a conversation can go from seemingly normal to just being extremely combative because this guy is very insecure, I guess, about his video game taste or something. I have no idea. But he brings up video games in a hostile manner, saying like, oh, most girls don't play real games, but I guess you're not like most stupid girls. Like, I don't know why he can't see how no one would ever respond positively to that.
Any game that you play and you enjoy playing is a real game, by the way. It's fucking stupid to have somebody tell you that you don't play a real game because they don't think it's a real game.
And when she didn't respond positively to it, he immediately says that she's being bitchy. Just the slightest sign of her not really feeling what you just said there, and he just gets aggressive and then gets even more mean and rude and nasty and then still probably walks away from this thinking it was her fault.
Yep.
It's craziness. So he'll probably stay alone for most of his life, but luckily he's got so many great games to play by himself. So there's a silver lining there. At least he's a real gamer with those real games by his side.
True,
That's really
Charlie.
about it. So yeah.
Charlie's really got the best takes, man. I don't think I've seen a take from Charlie that I didn't agree with. I want to take the time to read this message I got earlier, by the way. Hey, SeanathonVGQ. How's it going? Randomly scrolled on Twitch on my phone out of boredom, stumbled across your stream. I also stream and do YouTube. My YouTube is Skate Bay Bikini, where I do cute try-on and yoga vids. You can look me up on YouTube. All my other stuff is linked in my bio on there. And if you DM me on the spicy site, I'll make a free vid for you. Just LMK it's you on there. I don't know. That one's wild. I've never gotten something like that before. Usually it's just people wanting to make stuff. Woo. Okay, we're checking this out now.
Halo 2 is the greatest video game ever created, but its development was far from great. In fact, to put it lightly, his development was absolutely horrific. After the game's first debut at E3
I remember
2003,
this.
Bungie returned to the studio with the painful realization that the game just didn't work. And so
That trailer
they had to
was
scrap almost the entire
amazing.
thing and start from scratch with just over a year left until release. What we got in the end was ultimately a masterpiece, but because of its rough development, Halo 2 has an astounding amount of content that was cut, never to see the light of day. Until now. The original version of Halo 2's campaign has now been restored, complete with almost every cut feature, weapon, vehicle, enemy, encounter, and so much more still left in the files. This absolutely iconic creation comes courtesy of the legend Vengeful Vadam, who's just released his mod, Halo 2 Uncut. And today, I want to go through this mod and highlight some of my absolute favourite elements of Halo 2's original campaign.
That's wild.
Let's dive into the alternate universe where Halo 2's development wasn't done on Lasso.
I gotta get my water.
Humans fighting alongside elites? What's next? Grunt hierarchs? For all I have seen today, I would not be surprised.
Grunt hire.
Starting out on Scariest Station, one of the first things that you're going to notice is the HUD. It's different. Now, Halo 2 always had a slightly weird looking HUD in that the shields were, for some reason, above the motion tracker. I mean, I personally never disliked this, but originally Bungie intended for the HUD layout to be a lot more in line with what we saw in Combat Evolved. And that's what Vadam
I guess
was
I
doing
never
with the
really
mod.
even thought
The
about
shields
that.
are now in the top right. The grenade indicator is in the top left next to your weapon, and dual weapons now stay side by side. Speaking of weapons, Scariest Station gives us our first look at two
that's weird.
never before seen weapons that were cut from Halo 2. Firstly, the original BR. This thing is basically a DMR in BR form. It's semi-auto at all times, so unzoomed and zoomed in with no ammo indicator. Now, having this thing in place of the BR is definitely like a cool insight into what
Is that the one that was in the trailer they showed? I think it is.
could have been, but to be honest with you, I'm really happy that we got the BR that we ended up getting that was 3-shot burst. You guys know by now that I'm not really that much of a DMR fan. I'm a huge BR guy over DMR guy, and so this version of the BR, albeit cool, doesn't really scratch that BR itch. What does scratch the itch though are these new melee animations. Now, Halo 2 was actually going to have this really cool and, in hindsight, extremely intuitive melee animation system where if you meleeed a weapon fast enough, instead of the animation just fully resetting and playing again, it had instead chained the animations together in a really fluid and natural looking style. And the madman Vadam has resurrected that system. As far
Why
as I can
would they
tell,
cut
it's
that out?
only on the BR, but you know, it's really cool seeing the
Oh.
animations chained together like they do.
Because they only did it on the BR and they decided not to program it on every weapon.
They honestly look so fluid and so natural. You know, thinking about it, I can't even think about an FPS game, even a modern FPS game nowadays, that has an animation style with meleeing that's this intuitive and fluid, or even similar to this. I think this is just another example of Bungie making something that's inadvertently like decades ahead of the curve. And you know, on the topic of animations, let's talk about reload animations as well, because they have been massively improved. Now, when you run a mag dry and do a full reload, Chief actually pulls the charging handle back or hits the bolt catch to slide the bolt forward and chamber a new round, as you would with an actual gun. You know, it's a small detail, but for people out there like myself that like firearm stuff, this is like a real nice little touch that it's a shame never made it into the final release. Anyways, the second resurrected weapon is hands down one of the coolest things I think I've ever seen in Halo, the plasma cannon. Now, this is Halo 2's version of the plasma turret heavy weapon that we finally got to use in Halo 3, and you know what? I'm not gonna lie, I think
That thing looks weird, dude.
I prefer
Kind of looks like a weapon you'd see in Turok Evolution.
Halo 2's cut version. Reach's plasma repeater kinda sorta tried to fill this first-person heavy plasma rifle role.
Yeah, but that weapon was
I
garbage.
really don't like that weapon. I think it felt completely flat. This, on the
That
other
was one
hand,
of the worst
does
weapons
not fall
ever
flat.
introduced in the
Seriously, the
series.
plasma cannon absolutely nails the role of a heavy plasma rifle.
That does
it
look pretty
feels
cool.
innately like a real heavy plasma cannon with massive bolts, much faster fire rate, and venting that's powerful enough to prevent it from ever overheating. I cannot tell you how satisfying it feels to mow down a horde of grunts or drones or even floods with this
Yeah,
thing.
that would be
It
such a
also
good weapon
just
against
happens
drones.
to look badass as well. Cherry on
Kind of
top.
looks like
And, you know, speaking
a.
of
It kind of looks like a beam rifle.
satisfying it feels to mow down a horde of grunts or drones or even flood with this thing. It also just happens to
It does. It looks kind of like a beam rifle. A very similar design.
look badass as well. Cherry on top. And you know, speaking of the grunts, a little thing that I noticed, it may just be me head casing, so let me know if I'm in the comments, but a little thing I noticed is that the grunts seem to have more green lights on them now. And you know, I kind of like it. It's only a small thing, and those lights are there in vanilla Halo 2. I just don't think as many of them are turned on the grunts methane pack, but having them all turned on just kind of makes the grunts stand out a little bit more on the battlefield. So if all of this
That's
is
something that
tickling
I
your
would
fancy
imagine.
and you're looking
That they would change because of hardware limitations, but I don't know.
for a damn fine PC to play it on, well, look no further than my own Flood-themed line of PCs made in partnership with Apex Gaming PCs.
These PCs look
Choose
pretty
from
cool,
either
dude.
the Pure Form, the Gravemind, or the super powerful Primordial build. And make sure to use code HIDDEN at checkout for up to $250 off your order. Outskirts starts with a bang.
Do
Instead
it.
of Marines, you're now accompanied
If you're getting a PC, get one of those. They look pretty fucking cool.
by ODSTs, similar to Second Squad in the other Pelican that you go down to the city with. And when you crash, not only do the ODSTs fight with you through the streets, so too do the pilots, with their very marathon-esque flight helmets. But you don't move through the streets with a bang, rather, you move through the streets with a whisper, thanks to the new and functioning suppressed
so you
SMG.
get the ODST.
This thing actually works. You can
SMG.
stealth your way into the courtyard without the Covenant realizing you're there. It actually works.
That's
You'll see more of this
super cool.
later, but stealth was very clearly something that Bungie wanted to be more prominent in Halo 2, but
I mean, even in Halo 3 ODST, when they had the stealth weapons, it wasn't stealth. It didn't really matter.
didn't have the time or resources or whatever to make it happen. No longer. Something else that Bungie really wanted to make happen in Halo 2 that unfortunately they didn't end up getting round to until Reach was the Falcon. And it's here. Yes, this is the Halo 2 Falcon, and I gotta say, it is so cool having this thing swoop in and aid you in clearing out the courtyard, and then evac only the pilots and replace them with Marine reinforcements. And you know, the Falcon aside, as cool as this thing is, this is part of a series of changes that were absent from launch Halo 2 that Vadam has brought back in this mod, that make the world and the gameplay and your progression
That's pretty
through the
cool.
levels in this game feel more believable and
That's like,
that make the world it is part of reinforcements. And you know, the Falcon aside, as cool as this thing is,
Hold on.
this is part of a series of changes that were absent from launch Halo 2 that Vadam has brought back in this mod that make the world
so like if you look at this model, it basically looks like a stripped down Pelican model. I would not be surprised if that's exactly what it is. I mean, the head looks almost identical to a
and the
Pelican.
gameplay and your progression through the levels in this game feel more believable and more in line with the story. The whole game's story just feels more fluid and more fitting with the gameplay and the levels that you're going through because of these changes. And there are a ton more of them that, don't worry, we're going to cover as we go through the game. On a different, but equally as refreshing topic, Halo 2's Needler is no longer useless. I swear to God, the only reason we got the Halo 2 Needler that we ended up getting was because Bungie just didn't have enough time to give it some love. But don't worry, Vadam has given it that love, and now this thing is actually useful. Dual-wielding Needlers now? Man, you feel like Terminator. And you know, if that doesn't make you want to download this mod and also go and subscribe to Vadam's
It
channel,
really does.
then, man, I don't know what we'll do. Links are in the description. Go and do it now.
Yeah, go do it.
Now, when I got to Metropolis and I started rolling over the bridge in the Scorpion, I noticed something pretty damn cool right away. Halo 2's Phantoms are now destructible. Granted, they don't
That's super
quite
cool.
have the flash and the quality of Halo 3's Phantom Explosions. I mean, hell, not a single Halo game since Halo 3 has even matched Halo 3's Phantom Explosions. But
That's so
it's
true.
really cool to know that Bungie planned this now incredibly iconic feature quite a while in advance, and it's pretty cool playing through Halo 2 with the ability to at least try and detonate a Phantom. Now, something that I didn't know Bungie had planned, I've never seen this anywhere before, but if it's in this mod, then I trust that it was part of Bungie's original vision for Halo 2, is what I saw roll out of the tunnel when I got to the other side of the bridge.
No shit.
Drones driving cars.
That's
You know,
amazing.
There was something
Is
about
that
watching
drones?
this
I
and
thought I
seeing the
saw a grunt in there.
I've never seen this anywhere before, but if it's in this mod, then I trust that it was part of Bungie's original vision for Halo 2, is what I saw roll out of the tunnel when I got to the other side of the bridge.
See, look. There's a grunt driving it, for sure. The bugger is just sitting on top of it, the drone.
Drones driving cars. You know, there was something about watching this and seeing the
Grunts
drones
driving cars.
being sat on the roof of the car that had me absolutely howling. Genuinely hilarious. Into the tunnel,
That's
we
amazing.
see more of Bungie's scrapped plans for stealth, and this one is really cool because it's so contextual. The Covenant's invasion of the city has caused flooding, and you can crouch beneath the surface of the water in the partially submerged section of the tunnel to sneak around the Covenant. And again, it actually works. Don't get me wrong,
That's super
active
cool.
camouflage is really cool, but I love contextual stealth like this. It's something that I really hope gets resurrected
I like
in the next
that.
campaign. Towards the end of Metropolis, we meet the yin to the plasma cannon's yang, yet another heavy weapon that was cut from Halo 2, the GPMG.
Oh shit.
Again, this thing is really, really, really cool. I love the sound. It kind of just reminds me of even faster firing M60.
Kind of looks like a Doom weapon.
But
Yeah,
I
that sounds
gotta
like a
say,
warthog.
My heart is with the
Chain
plasma
gun.
cannon. That thing's just too cool. Speaking of cool, you know what would be even cooler is if you subscribed right now.
Am I subscribed? I'm subscribed on my main account. I'll subscribe
Go
on this
on,
account.
I know you want to. So,
my
Arbiter starts
personal
off with
account.
something that is right up my alley. The cut gas creatures that were meant to fly around the gas mine have been restored. And you know, having now fully played Marathon and fully digested Marathon, I only now realize that these gas creatures are the same things that float around in the electric sheep levels of Marathon Infinity. Halo is at its absolute peak when it's referencing or linking back to Marathon, and you cannot convince me otherwise. As you enter
don't
the gas
know.
mine, another section that
I don't
was
know anything
clearly
about
meant to be
Marathon.
stealth originally is actually a stealth section again. You can sneak through the initial encounter if you take out the elites and grunts without alerting anybody, and you know, it really makes having camo as the Arbiter here feel like more than just a get out of jail free card
You can do that in the base game. I've done that plenty of times.
when you're injured. It feels like an actual fleshed out mechanic. I love it. Sentinels are also present from the get-go here as well, which, you know, it just makes sense considering where you are. But when you pick up a carbine to take down the Sentinels, you'll notice that something pretty major is different. The carbine has been reverted back to its beta
it's a
stage,
battle
which is
rifle.
what the BR ended up being in another of Halo 2's many, many early iterations. So Bungie's original idea with the carbine was for it to be a 3-shot burst gun unscoped, and then a semi-auto rifle when scoped in,
Which came, yeah, in Halo 4. That shit's wild.
is of course a mechanic that we later saw in Halo 4's light rifle.
There was a mechanic they wanted to put in Halo 2 that came out when I was in fucking middle school, that they put into Halo 4 that came out when I was out of high school.
I gotta say, I really like this thing. Hearing the Halo 2 carbine sound fired in 3-shot bursts, ooh, chills down the spine.
That's so cool. I like that a lot.
But it's when we reach the Flood Lab of the Oracle that the fun really begins. Through the fog beneath the glass floor, you can see the piece de la resistance.
Oh, it's those
Halo 2
mofos.
content mauling its way through heretics. the Flood Juggernaut.
Yeah.
More on him in a second. I was really pleasantly
Only reason I know anything about the Juggernaut is because of hidden Xperia here.
surprised to see that the infection forms have had a bunch of what I think are cut animations restored as well. They aren't as static anymore. When they jump at you, you can see each individual leg and tentacle moving independently, which is really, really creepy. Gives me extreme facehugger vibes, and it just adds to the already existing creepy vibe of this level. Something else that Verdam's fixed from the release version of Halo 2 is that now, Artas, Halfjaw, actually follows you through the level. He doesn't just dip out after the first room. He even follows you around with restored cut dialogue as well, which, you know, is even better. But what's coolest here is absolutely the Flood Juggernaut fight, which the elites announce and talk throughout.
It comes! Prepare yourself, Arbiter!
It comes!
Knock off our every assault! It must have a weak spot!
Why would they
Juggernaut
cut
acts
it?
as a mini boss battle in kind of the same way as Halo 3's Chieftains did, just on steroids. The Juggernaut's weak spot is its eye, which periodically opens, and if you get close to this thing, those tentacles do some serious damage. It also
I want to see the
looks
eye.
so imposing, stomping around the room, towering above all the other Flood forms. It is such a shame this thing was cut.
Can I see the
Thank
eye?
God it's back. Here's to it, hopefully, fingers crossed, being resurrected in the next
I guess
Halo
the eye's
campaign.
like right here.
My finger's about to break. I'm crossing so hard. Jumping back over to Chief's story, Delta Halo is mostly the same, aside from one slightly altered encounter, which I absolutely loved. So when you get to that really comfy waterfall area, a phantom comes in above the treetops that call Halo is mostly the same, aside from one slightly altered encounter, which I
There's no way that is this on Halo 2's rocket launchers in the base game? Attention, hold like this. I've never seen that before.
absolutely loved. So when you get to that really comfy waterfall area, a phantom comes in above the treetops that Cortana tells you to hide from.
Phantom, stay out of sight.
You know, hiding from patrols in a jungle like this gave me real MGS3 vibes, real Vietnam vibes. I love
I need to
this.
play
This is
Metal
just
Gear
another
Solid.
one of the many stealth sections that Bungie clearly
Never
had
played
to cut
any
from
of them.
Halo 2 that would have made this already 10 out of 10 experience somehow even better. Not to cross my fingers again because I think they are about to break, but here's to some Metal Gear style stealth in the next Halo campaign, please.
I don't think we need stealth in every game, but I think it would be a lot of fun. If they
When
do
you
it right.
descend under the lake in Regret, there's some pretty cool cut dialogue from both Cortana and, brace yourself, Chips Dubbo that's finally made its way into the game. Now, I'm not going to butcher this audio myself, just take a listen.
Block our access to sacred sites. Damage holy relics.
And people say
For their
I've got a big head.
transgressions, the humans shall be hunted until none remain alive.
Oh man, he is so dead.
Man, how can you hear that and think that Chips Dubbo doesn't deserve to be in every single Halo game?
Oh man,
I don't want
he
to cross my
is
fingers
so
again, you're about to
dead.
snap, but please. Now, the ending
I've
of
never
Regret's fight
heard
has been
that.
spruced up a little bit. It's only a small detail, but once you've killed Regret, the Covenant don't just stand still and the level doesn't just randomly end. Instead, hordes of Covenant reinforcements hurriedly come flooding through the doors as you try and leave the temple. It's as if Regret had ordered some kind of distress signal for reinforcements when he saw Chief enter the room, and they're only just arriving a few minutes too late. It's another one of those small changes that just makes the world feel more kind of cohesive and believable and in line with the overarching story. Like the
That's
Covenant
cool.
were desperately trying to save Regret, but they were a few seconds too late.
Although
Really great addition.
this level is already way too hard on Legendary. So, especially by yourself, I'm probably good on not having to fight your way out after you kill Regret. Especially considering there's no way you get a checkpoint, because there's still a bunch of fucking enemies in the room.
Over in the Sentinel Wall on a Sacred Icon, which was, I think, one of Halo 2's more underrated levels, there's a small addition early on that always seemed like it was missing from the official game. Well, I guess now we know that it was missing from the game. Allied Brutes. Normally here, you just link up with a Jackal and maybe a few Grunts, but now you've got a Brute on your side as well, which, as far as I'm aware, is actually the only time in the entire Halo franchise that you've had an Allied Brute, which
That is 100% true. There's no way, unless it's in like the Halo Wars games or something. You do not ally with brutes.
It's pretty cool. Halo history right here.
That
You
is
also
pretty
get a
cool.
ton more allied covenant as well. You definitely get more allies here because I built up what felt like a mini militia in this initial section.
It makes perfect sense too. You're up against the Flood, so why not? And you're the Arbiter.
Now, granted, the Flood did annihilate this little militia when we made it over the gondola ride, but it was still really cool having that little ragtag group of survivors by my side from the previous failed attempts
That
to
is
break
cool.
through the wall. In
I feel like
original Halo 2,
Jackals
you just
usually
see
aren't
dead
on your
bodies
side
everywhere,
either.
which is really cool set dressing, but it's cool having some of the survivors of those dead body excursions fight alongside you. But don't worry, they didn't die in vain. This next resurrection requires a little bit of context. So, in original Halo 2, there's a one-of-a-kind sentinel that only spawns on Quarantine Zone, nowhere else. And for some reason, this sentinel fires needles, as if it's just holding a needler. Now, this thing is left over from a cut variant of the sentinel that was going to do something similar, and lo and behold, Vadam has restored this cut sentinel in all of its glory. The needless sentinel has returned. And what's even cooler is that you can now use its weapon, which is a really
I don't
unique version of the
remember there
Sentinel
being
beam
even
that
one
fires
needle or
those
sentinel,
red
but that
needles
weapon
the
looks
Enforcer
familiar,
fires. And
so...
I gotta say, this weapon is so fun to use. It sounds great, it looks great, it's satisfying. I kept this thing on me at all times.
That looks
And
pretty
then the
cool. It
final
actually
cherry
looks
on
like
the
it's
top of
better
this
against the Flood
wildly
than
underrated level is that Vadam has
than the actual Sentinel beam.
ragtag group of survivors by my side. Get a ton more out
Where, yeah,
of the
right.
needler.
Maybe I do remember this. I'm trying to remember if I...
So fun to use.
I've
It
seen
sounds
that.
great, it looks great, it's satisfying. I kept this thing on me at all times. And then the final cherry on the top of this wildly underrated level is that Vadam has restored the second cut Juggernaut encounter, which again
Who
comes with
grenades
some
just
really
bounce
cool
off
cut
of it?
dialogue from Artas
Or
and
at
the
least
elites.
one did.
Leader, the Juggernaut, foul and unholy beast.
Speaking of cut dialogue,
Forward, warriors, and fear not pain or death. For those who fell before us. Go, officers. I'll follow when our reinforcements arrive.
chills.
Why would they cut that? That's so cool.
Go, officers. I'll follow when our reinforcements arrive.
I missed it.
Chills.
I missed
Chills.
it.
Forward, warriors, and fear not pain or death. For those who fell before us. Go, officers. I'll follow
Or
when our
those who
reinforcements
fell before us.
Chills. Chills. The
Why
further that
would
you
they
move
cut that?
through Quarantine Zone, you start to realize that the Needless Sentinel Beam isn't the only cut Sentinel weapon that's been restored.
Oh shit.
Oh, there's more. There's the Sentinel Charge Shot, which is basically a Sentinel railgun, and the Sentinel Grenade Launcher, which is a handheld version of that grenade barrage that the Enforcer does. Now, these spins on the Sentinel Beam are so good, and they basically create like a mini category of Sentinel weapons to go alongside the UNSC
That's
and
super
Covenant
cool.
weapons. Using them against the Flood in particular just feels so right.
Which
That
is what-
charge
yeah, it
shot
should.
is absolutely perfect for taking down Juggernauts. Another really nice addition is the humans that show up before you reach the gondola. You know, you often get so focused on just blowing stuff up in Quarantine Zone that you forget that this entire level is essentially a race with the humans to reach the index first. And now the Marines are actually present as an enemy, that element of the story feels so much more present in the gameplay and
That
level
is cool.
progression. Also, call me a traitor, but killing humans as the Arbiter does feel kinda cool as well. But not as cool as this new weapon, if you could even call it a weapon. You can now pick up a Jackal Shield,
I
like
saw
a
that.
Riot Shield, and dual wield it with a single-handed weapon, which
Earlier
feels
in the video.
so badass.
That's
I knew that Bungie
really
had plans
cool.
for this in Halo 2, and so finally getting to use it is so cool. I mean, I'm honestly mind-blown that we've never had this in any official capacity since.
I will say that the shield only works well for the Jackals because the Jackals are short, right? So
Jumping
you'd
to the
have
level
to be
which can only
crouching for it to
described
be
as
at its
hell on
full
Legendary,
effectiveness.
Gravemind, the level is mostly the same encounter-wise, but there are a few new smaller additions that are really cool. Notably, the spike grenades. I knew Bungie worked on these for Halo 2 and I knew they were planned, but I never actually knew what their plan was going to be for them until now. So they basically act as a middle ground between a frag and a plasma. They have the explosion and the fuse time of a frag, but stick to targets like a plasma grenade. They aren't quite as unique as Halo 3 spike grenades that launch a barrage of spikes around that ricochet around a room, but they still feel mostly different enough to have a place in the sandbox, so it's kind of a shame they were cut. What wasn't cut, but is radically different to vanilla, however, is the brute shot. Now, I absolutely adore the regular Halo 2 and Halo 3 brute shot. It didn't feel Covenant, but at the same time, it didn't feel human. It felt innately brute.
It did.
Whereas this early version of the brute shot feels a lot more like a Covenant weapon. So instead of firing the kind of bouncing HE shells, it fires a burst of what appears to be explosive plasma that kind of acts like an impact plasma grenade. It's an interesting insight into an early version of such an iconic weapon, but to be honest, I'm happy we got the version that we got in the end.
I would agree. It also looks like it's pretty similar. Other than the fact that it doesn't bounce, the effect looked pretty similar, especially on the hunters.
Towards the end of the level, when the Inamberclad arrives, there's a really, really cool little cinematic section that's kind of present in the vanilla game, but you can tell that the one in the launch version of Halo 2 was kind of rushed out and not finished properly. Just take a look.
Chief, there were no humans on board. It was filled with flood. Whatever that flood creature was, it had damn good aim.
Now, not to be overly dramatic or look too much into something, but I feel when the Inamberclad arrives, there's a plasma grenade. It's an interesting insight
I
into
missed
an early
something.
version of such an iconic weapon, but to be honest, I'm happy we got the version that we got in the end. Towards the end of the level, when the Inamberclad arrives, there's a really, really cool little cinematic section that's kind of present in the vanilla game, but you can tell that the one in the launch version of Halo 2 was kind of rushed out and not finished properly. Just take a look.
Chief, there were no humans on board. It was filled with flood. Whatever that flood creature was, it had damn good aim.
Now, not to be overly dramatic or look too much into something, but I feel like that extra cut dialogue from Cortana there perfectly encapsulates Halo 2's more serious and kind of emotional tone, along with its also sprinkling of comedy. She sounds horrified when she detects that the entire ship has been infected by the flood, but her delivery when she says that the Gravemind has great aim to, jump the ship inside High Charity is pretty funny. Absolutely fantastic voice acting as per usual from Jen Taylor, and it's a real shame that lines like that were cut because they're delivered so well.
I agree. That is a shame. Also, look at that pause right in the middle of a face cut.
Now, Uprising is already the GOAT Halo 2 level, right? But Vadam's fixed something here that Bungie must have broken in the final version of the game that I swear to God has bugged me since November 15th, 2004. 20 years now. The dying elite is finally fixed.
Brutes have betrayed us. The counselors.
What?
As a kid, it used to trip me out so much that this elite was just a dead body, but was talking, right? I never knew if there was meant to be some other elite somewhere, or if there was another elite somewhere that I just couldn't find that was saying that line, or if the line was meant to be coming out of that dead body or something, but having this little cinematic section fixed finally lays that question to rest in a rather sad way.
That's wild. I know exactly what he's talking about. That little dialogue that you hear right there. The difference is I never fucking thought about it. I just assumed we were hearing somebody talk over a fucking radio or something. I don't know. Some sort of Covenant radio communication device.
The elites insert more realistically via a phantom now, rather than drop pods from a non-existent carrier ship. And similar to earlier on, you have so many more allies here, which again I think really fits with the story. I feel like I'm really forming an elite militia here to strike back against the brutes and get bloody revenge on them for their betrayal. The overall push through the caves and the ravines feels fuller, so to speak, and a lot more contextually fitting when you've got more elites by your side.
I can agree with that.
Even for you. Are there any more?
In the ravines in particular, it really feels like you're building up a guerrilla force and not just fighting with like 2 or 3 elites by your side. It's a very impactful change. And when you step outside for the first time, you're greeted by a really, really cool new addition.
Let's not make ourselves a target for those scarabs.
Ooh.
Man, I love that extra elite dialogue as well. Having 2 scarabs guarding the control room makes so much more narrative and contextual sense than just having 1 scarab chilling unmanned like a mile away. These scarabs look so cool in the final cutscene as well, but trust me, their coolness hasn't even come close to peak yet.
Oh,
More
sure.
on those in a minute. Back to High Charity, we reach the level, well, High Charity, who would have guessed it? And right from the start, there's a really, really cool bit of cut Cortana dialogue that's been restored that, I gotta say, right up my alley.
Blood spores have contaminated the city's life support infrastructure. The filtration systems are overloading.
The infection of High Charity is an event that we know offensively little about, and this little extra flavor dialogue, as obvious as it is, just adds so much. The entirety of High Charity's life support system was filled with spores, and also its air filtration systems were overloading as a result. The flood literally corrupted the life support systems. What a terrifying thought.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, that's kind of what I assumed it was with High Charity. I guess I never really thought about how little info you actually get.
But that's not all the restored cut Cortana dialogue. Some more plays later on that touches on the wider outbreak aboard High Charity.
The amount
Like, not... Flood spores is what I meant. Is what I assumed it was.
of flood biomass is increasing exponentially. There are reports of infestations in every district. If the speed of the flood spread in this tower is any indication, it won't take long for it to overrun the entire city.
And then towards the end, we get even more that gives us an insight into how each member of the Covenant is responding to the Great Schism.
The jackals and drones have declared themselves the servants of Zeus. The hunters have sworn allegiance to the elites. The grunts seem to be neutral, or at least afraid to announce which side they support. Except for truth, the prophets aren't saying a word.
Now, of course, we already knew all
That's
of that,
super
but
cool.
it's so cool actually hearing about different allegiances being struck in the background in-game. It adds even more flavor to the story and more context to what's going on around you.
The Covenant, you know, just being destroyed around you throughout the narrative is such a cool part of the Halo games. I like just crumbling, that's the word I was looking for. It's a system built on, you know, slavery and a whole bunch of pretty bad stuff. So inevitably, this is going to happen.
You know, out of all of the cut dialogue, I think this is the one that I'm most sorry that Bungie had to cut. But probably the biggest piece of restored content in this entire mod comes in at the end of High Charity. No longer does Chief just soar through the big green beam of energy to get to the key ship. No. Halo 2's infamously cut Warthog run
No
is back, complete
fucking
with
way.
new cut music as well. Halo 2's very own Warthog run theme, and my god does this theme slap. Now, granted,
always
this
thought-
Warthog run
I always thought this level felt way too short, dude. And that's gotta be why.
Halo 2's very own Warthog Run theme, and my god does this theme slap. Now, granted, this Warthog Run definitely isn't as strong as Halo 1's or Halo 3's, but the setting is very cool and very unique and sets it apart from the other two. And
That's
with this
so
Warthog
cool.
Run, we've now technically had a Warthog Run in all 3 major factions' architecture: UNSC, Covenant, and Foreigners. Completely irrelevant detail, but I just noticed it when I was going through this game, so I figured I'd mention it. You can definitely tell though that Bungie used this Warthog Run
There's
as
been
something
2
of a
in,
precursor to the
Forerunner
ideas that
if
they
you
finally
include the
brought to
Ghost
life
one.
in Halo 3's Warthog Run. There are loads of parts of it that do feel really similar in some areas to Halo 3's, but at the same time, this run does feel unique. It doesn't feel like Halo 3's 0.5, if you get what I mean. Honestly, play this mod just for the Warthog Run. Trust me on that. As soon as
I'm
you
gonna
hear
have
that theme come in
I'm gonna
that
have
you've
to play
probably
this
not heard
mod.
before, like I genuinely hadn't heard it before, man, genuine chills. I'm not even kidding. And that brings us to our fateful end at Great Journey. And again, opening right away with the 2 scarabs in the background of RB and Halfjaw talking is so cool. This shot
What is this?
is so imposing. But the biggest change to Great Journey is the scarab section. No longer do you get in a Banshee, fly through the ravine in 30 seconds, and then just hover for 15 minutes whilst Johnson very slowly and carefully meanders his way through the canyon. No, 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 no. Now, you get to ride the Scarab halfway at least, with not just elite, but also marine allies as well.
Humans fighting alongside elites? What's next? Front hierarchs? For all I have seen today, I would not be surprised.
This is so cool.
I like
it's the
that a
only time in Halo
lot.
2 where we actually get Marines and Elites fighting side by side. Again, a little precursor to Halo 3. I armed them all up with Furor cannons and just let them go crazy. And just watching Elites and Marines stand side by side and fight on the side of a Scarab was so cool. But that's only half of it. When you get halfway through the Scarab run, you then pick up a bomb that's in the pilot bay of the Scarab, you hop in a Banshee, and then you go on board one of the other 2 Scarabs to arm the bomb and leave. Man, you can really see where Bungie got their ideas for Halo 3 Scarab encounters with this section. This really does feel like a precursor to those fights. Then, with one of the Scarabs destroyed, you get to watch Johnson annihilate the other Scarab with his own. Seeing them both partially destroyed in the ocean before the control room looks so damn good. And then, one of the changes that we get in the control room encounter is that the Phantom actually follows you to the door and drops off elite allies to raid the control room with you, which, again, is just a great addition to the gameplay that helps it fit in quite a bit more with the narrative, and it helps make the gameplay and, again, the level progression feel more consistent with how pushed for time the allies are to stop Tartarus here.
I haven't done that room he just showed without a Banshee, and I don't know how long.
More consistent with how
this room right here, because you can so easily bring a Banshee up and over in the room before it.
For time, the
I remember this room
to
being really tough.
I gotta say, I think my favorite thing that this mod kind of resurrects is reducing the gap between the gameplay and the narrative. The two feel a lot closer now, whereas before, the gameplay felt a bit more like a conduit to get you to the next part of the narrative. Not to say that there wasn't narrative in the levels, but there were bits that didn't make as much sense as they do in this version of Halo 2's campaign. But unfortunately, the rest of Great Journey is basically the same as release. Sadly, we still have to watch Tartarus absolutely slaughter the elites with the Fist of Rux. Man, that's never not heartbreaking. I've played this level like 1,000 times and it's still sad. Still is. And so, those are my favourite elements of
Guess
Halo
I've never
2
really thought about
Uncut,
that.
Bungie's
I've always
original
just
version of Halo 2's campaign. Let me know your favourite thoughts and changes and additions and resurrected bits of content down below in the comments. And also, do not forget to go and sub to Vengeful Vadam.
I've had very little feeling about those elites that died. For whatever reason. Alright, I want to watch one of these.
Top 20 scariest TikTok videos of the year. Nurse Marquette Jean from Mankato, Minnesota is enjoying a quiet night at home when suddenly her eye catches something strange on her daughter's baby monitor.
Her daughter. That fucking kid is super creepy looking. A cat. A ghost cat. Is that a ghost cat? Are you gonna say, did you see it?
There's a cat in here?
It was a cat.
Is there a cat in here? No. Oh, sorry. Love you, good night.
Like, what a weird response, if you ask me. Okay, so, hold on a second. Let's pretend you're this lady, you have a kid. The way this interaction goes, it seems like they don't own a cat. So this thing appears here and runs across. It does look like a cat. 100% looks like a cat. But she comes in, asks this, like, toddler. How old is she? 2? 3? I don't know if I can know. Asks her if there's a cat in here. She says no. She's like, okay, bye.
Are you okay?
Is that not weird?
No, it's okay. I was just checking on you. Good night. I love you. Huh? scary.
You're scary?
Huh?
I told you, she's the scary one. Fucking glowing eye toddler.
Why? There's no monster in the window. I'll look. See? I'll look.
On the monitor, Marquette Jean sees a bizarre figure that resembles a cat that seems to pass right through her daughter.
I mean, it looks exactly like a cat. You got the ears, you got the eyes, got the little nose, you got the body. Here's a little tail. Oops.
Bedroom door.
Okay, he froze it. I'm just being stupid.
When she asks little Everly about the cat, the 3-year-old instead complains that, quote, there's a monster in the window and that she's scared.
No.
Now, oddly enough,
No.
Marquette
She didn't say she was scared. She said, "It's scary."
says that her beloved cat passed away last summer. She also says that, quote, weird and bad things have been happening in their home for a very long time, but this is the first time that they have ever caught anything on camera. Marquette is not sure exactly what this is.
Evil cat. Evil cat ghost.
Exploration gone wrong.
Like, I don't know, man. I don't know about that one. That one's fucking weird. None of that made sense.
Two friends decide to explore an abandoned industrial park at an undisclosed location in China. The site has been abandoned for over 3 years, and most of the entrance.
Okay, before we even go into this, I feel like your number one concern when you're in these places is people. There's no way that you go into one of these places and you're more worried about some fucking ghost than you are about a squatter or a drug addict or some shit.
Entrances have been locked shut to prevent intruders and squatters. But this doesn't
Exactly.
stop the two explorers as they manage to find a way inside.
Okay. Okay.
They start to explore the construction floor by floor. That's when they spot something absolutely unnerving.
This is just dangerous. Not that I think it'd be kind of fun. Don't get me wrong. So just pointing at stuff and saying, ooh. Wait. Was there a person there? Did you see it?
Did you see it? Someone appears to be sitting on a chair inside one of the empty offices. The cameraman calls out to his friend and they quickly turn back and check out the room.
Nuke will freeze it for us, right?
But there's no one there.
Freeze it for us. Please?
So did they accidentally capture a paranormal event? Or is it all?
Okay, so, I mean, like, this is definitely a person. I'm no goddamn expert, but it does seem like there's a person sitting in this chair. But they walk...
Just an elaborate hoax. You
elaborate
decide.
hoax. They walk right by the door, and they're like, wait a minute. Whoever was in this chair could be anywhere in this room now. I don't know. If that were me, also, I'd be a little more nervous. Like I was saying at the beginning, I'd be a little more nervous that that was an actual person.
So did they accidentally capture a paranormal event? Or is it all just an elaborate hoax? You decide. A ghostly gift. Cassie O'Malley from Lamont, Illinois loves monkeys. So when one day she receives a monkey doll as a gift, she's absolutely thrilled. That is, until she opens the box.
What?
Oh my fucking god, I swear to god, this thing just fucking looked at me. Oh my.
She was
Molly
thrilled.
from Lamont, Illinois loves monkeys. So when one day she receives a monkey doll as a gift, she's absolutely thrilled.
So she's got.
That is.
Or is this her talking about it already being haunted?
Until she opens the box.
I thought she was just making like a TikTok with it, but I guess maybe she was saying it was haunted in that.
Oh my fucking god, I swear to god, this thing just fucking looked at me. Oh my.
Also,
For a
I didn't
split
actually
second, the
see
creepy
that.
monkey doll seems to look directly at Cassie.
Okay, I see it. I see it.
Oh my fucking god, I swear to god, this thing just fucking looked at me. Oh my.
Cassie says she's tried everything to debunk what she captured on camera, but she hasn't found anything to explain it. After
that
this
even
recording,
mean?
the doll hasn't stirred up any trouble. So for now, Cassie is keeping the creepy little monkey doll proudly on display in her home. But what would you do with a gift if it did this?
Throw it away. 100%. I don't believe this for a minute.
Let me know down in the comments.
Also, before I forget, I gotta make sure I do the subscribe like thing. All right.
Oh my fucking god, I swear to god, this
I do
thing
admit
just
it's
fucking
creepy,
looked
though.
at me. Oh my.
Whether it's
Shadow
real or not.
of doubt. Late one afternoon in Spain, TikTok user Les spots the shadow of a pigeon perched just outside her second floor window. She decides to record a funny video for scaring the bird away. But when she approaches the window, things take a very odd turn.
A funny video of her scaring the bird.
Y no sé qué es.
She's.
But what spots the shadow of a pigeon perched just outside her second floor window? She decides to record a funny video for scaring the bird away.
She decides to record a funny video of her scaring the bird away.
But when she approaches the window, things take a very odd turn.
She says there's something there and I don't know what it is. There was a shadow on my window and I thought it was a pigeon and I was going to film it because I thought it was funny, but again, the setup is fucking weird. Like, what do you mean?
Algo ahí y no sé qué es.
I saw this weird shadow in my blind and it had to have been a pigeon, so I thought maybe that would be a funny video. But when I got closer, nothing changed, but all of a sudden I thought it might be something else. I don't know what it is.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Hola?
Hello, pigeon? Oh my god.
¿Qué es eso?
A shadow can be seen through the blinds, but when Les lifts the curtain, there is no pigeon, or anything else for that matter. But the shadow remains, and then just suddenly moves away. Les, who has never posted any other super...
So, I gotta say, I don't think it's a fake video. Based on what I just saw. But I do think it has a lot of explanations that aren't ghost pigeons.
Supernatural video is baffled by the incident. She says that she doesn't really believe in the supernatural, but also she says she has no clue what the odd shadow could have been.
The only creepy part about it was the way that it, like, moved down and went away. It was almost
So is
too
this something
perfect.
paranormal, or just an odd trick of the light? One day, a severely damaged car is brought into a garage in
For the record, I think it was an odd trick of the light.
Rica, Chile. It seems that the car had been involved in a serious traffic accident just the night before. The owner of the repair shop, Marcos Garcia, has a house that sits on the same property as the garage. Around 2:30 in the afternoon, he notices something very odd outside his window. He spots one of his mechanics, a man named Juan, who seems to be involved in a very animated conversation with someone. The problem is, there's no one there. Juan is all alone.
Juan is all alone. There's so many videos that require you to just believe people when they tell you they were all alone.
Marco quickly pulls up the live feed of the garage's CCTV camera on his phone. What happens next is downright chilling.
I love the way that Nuke sells it, though. He really makes the channel.
Se volvió loco. Estoy revisando por la cámara del taller de mi teléfono, estoy en mi casa. Y este maestro está hablando solo. No cacho qué onda.
You got the
La verdad
music.
que no cacho qué onda. No, está hablando solo.
Oh, he's talking to no one.
Le voy a preguntar por cámara qué está haciendo. A ver, vamos a preguntar.
So, like, it's so weird to me that he's so specific about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just way too skeptical.
¿Aló?
I'm gonna ask him on camera what he's doing. Obviously, you're gonna ask him on camera. You're fucking recording.
Oye, disculpa, pero ¿con quién estás hablando?
Sorry, but who are you talking to? Talking about the accident they had last night.
Oye, cálmate. ¿Qué, don Carlos? Pero, oye, escúchame un poquito. ¿Tú me estás hablando del accidente de anoche?
Claro.
Juan, me estáis huellando, ¿cierto?
No, pues estoy con don Carlos aquí, pues. Le estoy explicando.
Oye, ¿podéis subir? ¿Sabes qué? Oye, es que no estáis hablando con nadie, viejo. No estás hablando con nadie, Juan, y ayer los que chocaron murieron todos. Juan, no estás con nadie. Sube y ven a ver las cámaras, tengo todo grabado. Sube, viejo, sube, vente al tiro.
He must be right behind
no
me.
estás con nadie, Juan. Viejo, no, tengo grabado, vente por favor, vente. No, esta weá es...
Mechanic Juan swears that he was...
I will say it sucks that you never know if things are real or not. Because, like, this would be definitive evidence, I feel like. Or it's either definitive evidence of three things. One, this dude's nuts. Two, it's fake. Three, this guy's talking to fucking Carlos.
He was talking to a man who was very real and said his name was Mr. Carlos. Juan says that he could see Mr. Carlos standing right in front of him, clear as day. He says Mr. Carlos was asking questions about repairing the severely wrecked car from the night before. Now, Juan had no idea that all of the passengers in the car had passed away in the accident. He also didn't know that one of the deceased passengers was a man named Mr. Carlos.
Dun, dun,
so did Juan talk to a ghost? He certainly seems convinced. But what do you think?
Fake.
A cry for help. TikTok user Ali McDaniel from Raleigh, North Carolina says that he just returned from a fishing trip when he heard something odd coming from a nearby public toilet. Perhaps the sound of a screeching animal. He pulls out his phone and moves closer to film the odd.
If you heard a weird sound, like a screeching animal coming from the toilet, would your first instinct be to go towards it and record it?
Sound. But it turns out it's not the sound of an animal at all.
Yo, what the?
Yo, that's not an animal. Came back from fishing. Also, what do you mean you came back from fishing?
Carlos. So did Juan talk to a ghost? He certainly seems convinced. But what do you think? A cry for help. TikTok user Ali McDaniel from Raleigh, North Carolina says that he just returned from a fishing trip when he heard something odd coming from a nearby public toilet. Perhaps the sound of a screeching animal. He pulls out his phone and moves closer to film the odd sound. But it turns out it's not the sound of an animal at all.
Yo, what the?
First of all, I don't believe this dude was fishing. What was that?
What the?
Is he on the ground? What's that camera angle? Did you see that? He's like on the ground. What? What was that?
What the? Bro.
He immediately went into "there's no one in here" mode.
There's nobody in here.
This dude heard a woman screaming for help from a bathroom, and his first instinct.
Yo!
Look at this guy. He was not fucking fishing. I fish, and this guy was not just fishing.
A woman can be heard screaming desperately for help from inside the public restroom.
Yeah,
when Ali goes inside and checks, he soon realizes that there's no one there.
Maybe he could
Shocked
record
by the
what was
experience,
going
he posts
on.
his video to TikTok, and many concerned viewers believe that he might have caught a spirit, or possibly even a skinwalker. But what do you think?
Ah, like a Wendigo.
Yo, what the?
We need scary videos. So if you see anything
What
that
do
you
you
think
need?
would be
Scary
perfect for the top
videos.
5, send it to us at nukestop5@gmail.com. Make
The ghost
ghosts.
scared my mama.
This next
How much do you think Nuke will pay people for videos? Does he pay people at all? I'm sure he does.
creepy video went absolutely viral
Also, that last video was fake as hell, by the way.
on TikTok, and for good reason. An average family are enjoying a fun leisure night hanging out at home when suddenly it turns into something right out of a horror movie.
All right, so Dad, if you remember the
I'm telling you,
stupid rap.
I could do it all. I think it was like 88, 89, maybe, I don't think it was 90, maybe 87, 88, 89. They had this record that was a square. It was from McDonald's, but they put it in the Columbus Dispatch. But anyway, it's like a piece of paper, but you put it on like a 33.
They put it in what?
And it had like the big square. It was from McDonald's, but they put it in the Columbus Dispatch.
They put it in what?
Anyway, it's like a piece of paper, but you put it on like a 33, and it had like the Big Mac song on it. And if you could recite it and go into the store, like the restaurant, and recite it, they give you free food or something. I still know the whole song.
This has got to be the nerdiest I've ever heard in my entire life.
Check it out.
Go.
Are you posting this on like?
I'm gonna post it.
Well, just a disclaimer: I'm fat and I don't give a shit. So
Oh God.
this out. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Big Mac McDLT, quarter pounder with some cheese, filet of fish, a hamburger, a cheeseburger, a Happy Meal, McNuggets, tasty golden Frenchy French.
Did you see that? Are you kidding me right now? Holy sh-
Mandy, her husband Brent, and their daughter are just hanging out together and having fun when suddenly a cup just inexplicably flies into the air and falls to the floor.
I mean, until it did that,
Hey guys,
it was
this is Mandy. This
definitely
is her channel.
just gonna be a cup sliding on the table. I've seen that 1,000 times. So it's definitely more than that, at the very least.
This has got to be the nerdiest I've ever heard in my entire life.
Let's see.
Go.
Are you posting this on like?
I'm gonna post it.
Well, just a disclaimer: I'm fat and I don't give a shit. So
Oh God.
this out. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Big Mac McDLT, quarter pounder with some cheese, filet of fish, a hamburger, a cheeseburger, a Happy Meal, McNuggets, tasty golden Frenchy French.
Did you see that? Are you kidding me right now? Holy sh-
Mandy, her husband Brent,
Did
and
they
their
turn
daughter are
down
just
the
hanging
TV?
out together and having fun when suddenly a cup just
While it was
inexplicably
happening.
flies into the air and falls to the floor.
Hey guys, this is Mandy. This is her channel. I'm Brent. This was a follow-up to the, I guess, McDonald's song Solo Cup, Flying Cup incident. We were having a family night, and I decided to recite the 1989 or 8 McDonald's menu song, and thought it was funny, and my daughter, who was here, decided to
record him,
video me, and put it on her stupid TikTok or whatever she puts it on. But yeah, I was in the middle of trying to do the song and just have fun with it, and I heard something. I guess you'll see me in the video if you pay attention. I looked down at the table and I stopped singing, and why I did that is because I heard something. I didn't see a cup move or anything like that, but if you go back and look at the video, you can see the cup move a couple times. But I heard it audibly on the table. I thought it was something like a mouse, or we don't have mice or pets. Basically,
what?
A little bit later, the thing moves again. I react, and then it flies off the table, and I about pissed my pants because I've never, ever experienced anything like that.
We flew out of the living room.
Yeah, we actually left the living room. I was thinking about going to the Howard Johnson. Because we stayed up all night, didn't sleep very well, trying to figure out exactly what this was.
So like a hotel
for it. That really scared me, and I don't get. I'm skeptical about this stuff. But when cups are flying around, there's something going on. So this is where I was sitting on the.
When cups are flying around, there's something going on. I have to say, I kind of liked this video until they started talking about it. I don't buy their acting at all.
This is the table. The solo cup would have been about right here. My daughter was sitting kind of in the middle of that couch, and my wife was sitting on that end over there. And
we saw the fucking video.
Living room, no ghost, but this is where it happened.
To this day, the family has no idea what could have caused the cup to suddenly start moving and flip into the air. And their TikTok page has no other paranormal related videos.
That's very common now.
So, let me know what you think.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's fake.
The Dark Visitor. TikTok user Alex from the Dominican Republic receives a very bizarre video from one
Also, fake might be the wrong word, but I don't think it was paranormal. We'll say that.
of his friends. The video shows his friend leaving his apartment to go to work at around 5:30 in the morning. What happens next is truly bizarre.
Truly bizarre.
While closing his apartment door, a very odd-looking dark translucent figure can be seen in the background, just walking through the hallway.
Definitely didn't see that originally.
But then, it just disappears into thin air. The guy catches the figure from the corner of his eye, but he doesn't realize what it was until he reviews his CCTV footage. The clip went viral on TikTok, racking up nearly 7 million views. And tons of viewer feedback came pouring in.
What did people think it
So
was?
to very quickly answer some viewer questions and even claims that the video was fake, the guy records a super quick video to explain exactly what happened.
This video that's gone viral doesn't have any type of editing, just like I was explaining to Alex. This was the camera that captured it. And this was the hallway, it was all real, thank you.
So what do you think this...
Okay, so that didn't mean anything, for the record. Him coming on and saying, I didn't do anything to the video, here's the camera that captured it. That's fucking nothing at all. I think it's a super creepy video if it's real. I personally don't think it is.
Is it real? Or is it...
I think that looks insanely creepy to be real. I personally don't believe it, but, you know, who knows? It's a creepy video either way.
All just a TikTok hoax. You decide.
I love how it's always a hoax.
Changing the fate of the ocean. Seeing the coral reef bleaching events this past summer, we knew we had...
The Hanging Man. In his home in England, family man Ricky Beadle has gotten increasingly more worried about his son Elliot's abnormal behavior. One day, Ricky finds his son whispering to himself in his bedroom. So, Ricky decides to take out his phone and record as he asks little Elliot what's going on.
Elliot, what are you doing?
I'm drawing a picture.
Oh, that's cool. What's that? What's that in the corner?
The man hanging.
Oh, why have you drawn that?
Oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What does he do?
What does he do?
Why?
Because he does this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I'm not allowed to tell anybody.
Okay.
Well, you
Five-year-old
just
Elliot
fucking
explains that he's
broke the
drawn
rule,
man
kid.
that is hanging in the corner of his bedroom. A
I call
man that
bullshit.
annoys him at night by banging
Also,
on
I
the
think
wall.
it's super fucked up to use your kids for this shit. That kid probably has nightmares after this.
Now, as if that wasn't creepy enough, Ricky later finds his son seemingly talking to someone that only he can see.
Also, the best thing to do if you're concerned about your kid having some sort of an imaginary friend or you think he's actually talking to a ghost, you really want to record it and post it on TikTok so that you can have a whole bunch of fucking strangers see it. That's the best way to handle situations like this.
Elliot, what are you doing?
I see them hanging.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right.
He's crying, and I keep saying stop it.
Is he crying?
Yeah.
So this is the photo of the hanging man he's seen in the corner of his room.
I think this one's
I'm gonna
kind of
ask him
disgusting,
to draw
actually.
it again, when I've rubbed it completely off. Elliot, can you draw the hanging man for me?
Maybe disgusting's the wrong word, but
Can you tell me off at night?
What if I don't let him? What if you can sleep in my room? Is that okay?
Yeah.
that's a sweet sweatshirt. The kid's got the Mando sweatshirt with a whole bunch of Grogu on
What's
it.
these on his face?
Tears.
What's this?
Straight.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's insane how much this dad is encouraging this. Like, am I wrong? This is fucking crazy.
Does he cry quite a lot?
Yeah, because he's got hair fever up there and he's up there
Okay.
in the corner.
Okay, thank you.
But he annoys me at the night because he keeps saying he always bangs on you just.
Okay, thank you.
Now, Ricky believes that maybe his son Elliot just has a
Okay,
bit of
thank
an
you.
overactive imagination.
What a joke of a
But
dad.
that soon changes. Dad Ricky becomes worried when the 5-year-old can't seem to get any sleep for 3 nights in a row. Ricky decides to let his son try sleeping in a different room, and he installs a security camera to try to figure out what's going on. It isn't long before Elliot is woken up once again. When Dad Ricky checks the security footage, it makes his blood run cold.
Stop it. He's scaring me.
Now,
Dude, how fucked up is it to even have a camera like this? I don't know, maybe this is common now, but goddamn, dude. No privacy. I would have hated this as a kid.
Ricky thinks the strange growl
This
in
is
the
fucked
footage is
up.
nothing more than a vent inside the room, but he has no idea what seems to be pulling Elliot out of the bed.
Also, how fucking convenient that it's right off screen, isn't it?
Now, Ricky thinks
Look at this angle. Look at the fucking angle that this jackass set up. He's got it perfectly positioned, like halfway up the bed, even more than that, probably. You can only see like this little bit of the bed here.
The strange
Conveniently, the thing that pulls him is way over here.
The footage is nothing more than a vent inside the room, but he has no idea what seems to be pulling Elliot out of the bed. Looking for any explanation, he decides to share his story on TikTok.
Yep, that is definitely what he did. It wasn't because he wanted to exploit a whole bunch of videos off of his kid. It's because he wanted to see what people on TikTok had to say about it, because that's the best way to get information, don't you know?
So, just what do you think is going on here?
I think you've got a bad dad, maybe a bad mom. I didn't hear a mom mentioned. And you've got a whole bunch of people enabling it.
Could Elliot's imaginary friend perhaps not be so imaginary after all? Is the hanging man real? And what does he want with Ricky's son? Let me know your thoughts.
The type of content is messed up to introduce to a kid no matter what.
Down in the comments. The thing downstairs. Sophia says that she's been experiencing bizarre supernatural activity.
That last one left a bad taste in my mouth. They're all fun and games until you exploit your kid.
In her home in Argentina. She's home alone one night when she starts to hear strange sounds coming from downstairs. What happens next is absolutely terrifying.
Hola, gente. Otra vez el ruido ese.
There's a lot of foreign
Poco estoy haciendo
clips.
compañía hoy, pero ya estoy sola.
Foreign to the United States, I should say.
Todo el día se escucha un ruido de abajo. Y la verdad que no sé. Ay, la concha, olor a algo ahí.
Best thing to do when you're hearing noises downstairs in the middle of the night is to start filming and talking to yourself, because it's almost certainly paranormal and not someone breaking and entering. Like, what the fuck? It's so stupid.
Sora.
Oh, and yell too.
Sora, subí.
That's super creepy, I will admit.
Ay, no, Dios santo.
Oh yes, go forward.
Sophia sees an ominous dark figure at the bottom of the staircase, slowly reaching out toward.
You know what that looks like is Resident Evil 7. If you played that game, right at the very beginning, when I think it's Miranda is crawling up the stairs towards you.
Towards her. But Sophia is not having it. She rushes down to protect her dog and cat, who are both downstairs.
See, those eyes looked like the eyes of the animals.
But the hands disappear and there's nothing there. Only her two visibly
The
upset
eyes looked exactly
pets.
like the dog's eyes.
So could this be something supernatural? Or is it just a...
This is another one where I really hope that she wasn't scaring her animals to get some sort of a video. Again, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but that's the vibe I get.
Another TikTok hoax. You decide. An odd intruder. A woman in Jamaica steps outside to retrieve something from her car, but she doesn't know that an absolutely chilling event is about to occur.
What did Nuke say was going on?
You decide. An odd intruder. A woman in Jamaica steps outside to retrieve something from her car,
Retrieve
but she
something
doesn't
from her
know
car.
that an absolutely chilling event is about to occur.
That looks like me trying to retrieve something from my car in the middle of the night for sure. Although, I don't know where she's headed. Maybe the
As
car's
the woman exits her house and walks towards her car, we can see some strange translucent shape charge out of the woods near her house and run right inside the front door.
Oh no, she
Now,
left
whatever
the
this
door
does not
open.
seem to be any kind of compression glitch. The woman in the video is
Based on
perfectly
what?
clear, and also the figure approaches the light and still remains an odd, indistinguishable mist. But
It's
is
weird.
it supernatural? And
Probably
if not,
not.
just what is this? As
Where did she go? There must, like, I can only assume there's another car on the other side of that van.
always, I leave it up to you to decide.
It's pretty funny that it, like, ran inside when she went outside. I don't know, is she now, like, haunted by that shit? When you go out to retrieve something in your car in the middle of the night, make sure you close that fucking door, or else you're gonna have some shit charging out of the woods into your house, apparently.
This next video is a bit of a mystery as it was posted to TikTok without a source. The post claims that the video was recorded.
Also, for the record, everybody has motivation to make these so that people watch their videos. If anybody's wondering what the motivation would be.
In an apartment in Barranquilla, Colombia. The man who recorded it said that he was shocked when he began hearing the chilling sound of a woman crying from somewhere in his house. He took out his phone to record the terrifying event, but what happens next makes his blood run cold.
Another cold blood runner. Right here. Little kid. It's a little kid. It's just a kid.
Niño.
Boy. Oh my God, he's gone. It was definitely a creepy video. Let
When
me
he
hear
began
this.
hearing the chilling sound of a woman
I want to hear this setup again.
side. This next video is a bit of a mystery as it was posted to TikTok without a source. The post claims that the video was recorded in an apartment in Barranquilla, Colombia.
Okay,
The man who recorded it said that he was shocked when he began hearing the chilling sound of a woman crying from somewhere in his house.
No info.
He took out his phone to record the terrifying event, but what happens next makes his blood run cold.
Nuke does such heavy lifting to make these videos actually seem creepy.
Niño.
See, it looks weird, doesn't it? Doesn't the boy look kind of funky compared to the rest of the video?
Niño.
Like, especially when he drops down there,
Niño.
See, like, right there, he doesn't look like he's part of the video, in my opinion.
A young boy with a blank expression suddenly appears.
This dude does have the classic. He's got that down, dude.
From behind the man's TV stand, and judging from the man's reaction, he has no idea who this child is. The boy then ducks down behind the stand and the man quickly walks over. But the boy has disappeared into thin air.
I've had extremely scary encounters in my life, and I didn't, like, I wasn't going... It's fucking crazy. He's standing in his apartment, and he sees a kid.
Now, without a source, it's impossible to know whether this creepy footage is real or fake. But either way, the video is definitely spooky.
I agree with that. Can't contest that it's a spooky video.
A few months ago, we featured the story of Tim Saver, a night guard who started a new job at an undisclosed facility.
I
For
might
some
have seen
reason,
this
no one
one.
was willing to work the night shift. And before long, Tim understood why. He began to experience disturbing and unexplainable events at work. Eventually, Tim discovered that the source of the strange activity in the building seemed to be coming from an overhead attic space. When Tim went up into the attic to
It's not the one I
investigate,
thought it was.
he discovered something truly horrifying.
No forklift beyond this point. Oh, a hand? I guess? I mean, it's definitely creepy.
Since this video, the strange activity in the building has only gotten worse. Tim says that he's actually been attacked by something a few times. So, cut to another late night. Security guard Tim begins to hear banging coming from somewhere inside the building. Once again, he grabs his phone and hits record as he goes to investigate.
See, I like this a lot. It's got a really creepy setup, creepy setting. I'd be nervous walking through this building. By myself. Bunch of mannequins in here.
I guess we're doing this.
I guess
Hello?
this is happening. The amount of people that say hello, dude. Oh, the mannequin moved forward. And then fell over. Are you going to show us where it fell over from? You're going to linger right there for so long that whoever was over there could move, right?
Whoa.
They broke some glass.
Hello?
Hello?
Who's there?
Who's there?
Hello?
Hello?
A mannequin moves on its own and then falls over. Then a large glass frame falls to the floor and shatters.
So there could be multiple people involved for sure. It seems like
moves on
someone
its
might
own
have
and
been
then
able to
falls
move over
over.
here, but it
Then a
does
large
look
glass
like
frame falls to the floor
they
and
would have
shatters
had to have had someone over here and someone over here. Either way, I think it's pretty well done, other than the acting from this guy.
into a million pieces. Tim hears the creepy sound of a woman crying, and finally, a loud raspy voice can be heard from somewhere in the room.
Hello?
Tim is scared shitless and he just makes a run for it.
I love the
So,
hello.
now a few weeks later, Tim is back on the night shift when things once again take a terrifying turn.
Let me guess, he's just recording and saying hello. Okay, first of all, he was recording the mannequin that had like some
Hello?
scuff marks on it. Hello? And then he just spun. I didn't hear anything. See, the second you see that, you know that something sentient is there, right? Right? Also, why the fuck did he take so long to turn the light on? Oh. Oh, man. Say hello again. Hello? Oh, it's an upside-down cross.
Someone or something can be seen sitting on top of a steel cart.
See, when you first see this, it looks like this is an opening, and in my opinion, I thought this was a wall. I thought this was like an opening and you could see hands here and that they went up past the opening. But then he turns the flashlight on, long after this is done happening, by the way. And there's nothing there.
Slowly moves back, and when Tim turns on his flashlight, it just disappears.
Dude,
Tim
it took
says he is
Tim
shocked by
an
all that he's seen while
eternity.
working as a night guard in the building, but this pushed him over the edge.
Tim's a piece of shit.
Next
He's
day,
lying.
Tim quit his job.
Yeah, he does. He didn't
So
quit
is
his
it
job.
real, or is it all just an elaborate hoax?
The second one.
You decide.
I decided
Not
already.
clowning around. TikTok user Jacob explains in his videos that he's recently inherited his grandmother's house after she passed away. But Jacob says that he can't shake the strange feeling that something in the old house just doesn't want him there. And then things just get weirder, because Jacob finds a creepy old jester doll that belonged to his grandmother.
I think I've seen
grandmother's
this.
old house.
That doll looks familiar.
She left it for me, and when I got here, I saw a bunch of cool stuff. And one of the best things is right behind here. Oh yeah. I call him Jeffrey. Grandma left him for me, I guess. Real creepy.
Real creepy.
Kinda cute though.
Jacob says that when he was
Yeah,
a
he's
child,
got
the
some
sight of the
charm.
doll used to terrify him.
Obviously.
But he says it doesn't really bother him anymore. But
'Cause
then,
he's an adult?
late one night, Jacob wakes up to hear knocking coming from his bedroom closet.
I just heard knocking from the closet.
This dude's got Jeffrey overlooking his bed. Look at that. It'll pan back over. So that we can see Jeffrey move his head or some shit. He's got the heavy breathing. Again, the first thing you want to do when you're hearing weird sounds in the middle of the night is start recording and make sure that you're extra defenseless if something happens. At least you got it on video. He's gonna turn around and the clown's gonna be fucking somewhere else. Oh, it's looking at him. Yeah.
Did you see it?
Obviously.
The Jester doll's head has turned. Before, it was facing the bed.
Did you see how long he
Now
was
it
in
is
the
staring
closet,
right
too?
at Jacob as he closes the closet door. Almost as if
And again,
it's keeping an eye.
like what I was saying. His bed is right here. This dude put not only this giant fucking clown doll, but this doll too, just like looking right at him while he's sleeping. That shit's wild. Why would you do that?
The Jester doll's head has turned. Before, it was facing the bed.
Yes.
But now it is staring right at Jacob
And
as
why?
he closes the closet
Why was
door.
it facing the bed?
Almost
That's
as if it's keeping an eye on him.
the question.
Jacob says that he didn't even realize that the doll had moved at the time and only noticed it later when looking back at his footage.
I don't believe that for a
So
second.
could it be that Jacob's grandmother's home is haunted? Could there be an entity attached to the creepy Jester? I'll leave that to you to decide.
First one maybe, second one
An
no.
unrestful stop. Late one night, truck driver Danny Ramirez pulls over at a rest stop in Oregon to sleep for the night. But there will be no sleep this night. He experiences something truly bizarre.
I like this setup.
Started to hear stuff out here. I'm over here on 97 on the rest stop. And, I don't know. What the hell is that?
I don't buy the dialogue. It sounded very fucking wrong to me. What are we?
What the heck?
What are you talking? What are we hearing?
Is that?
The sound is what we're. Okay, that sounds different. I'll tell you exactly what that is. That's a stadium. It sounds exactly like what I used to hear. I worked nights at King Supers for a long time, a grocery chain. And later at night, they would hold these events down the road from me. Like different sporting events around like 7 or 8 o'clock after the sun had gone down sometimes. And it would sound exactly like this.
Starting to regret that I stopped at this rest stop. And they say Bigfoot isn't real? I don't ever want to stick my arm out the window.
Like you can, it sounds like reverberation. It sounds like a speaker. It might not be what I was originally saying it was, but
I can't believe.
A loud animal-like wail can be heard coming from the woods right in front of Danny's parked truck.
I don't think it sounded
Danny
like an animal.
believes he might have captured the sounds of a Bigfoot. Now, it should be
That'd be
noted
cool,
here
though.
that Danny has never posted anything related to the paranormal on his TikTok, which makes this creepy footage that much more believable.
True.
Also, others say that they've heard the exact.
I also believe that he heard what he heard. I don't know. I don't have any reason to believe that he faked this video. I just don't necessarily believe it was fucking Bigfoot or something. I think a lot of that sounded exactly like what a speaker system sounds like from a distance.
exact same sounds in this exact same area. But of course,
also that would make sense if there was a speaker system in this area. I'm just saying.
Of course, real or not, I leave that to you to decide. A phantom favor. Security guard Freddy works at a busy construction site in
This
Texas.
is the one I thought
He
we were
says
going to
that
see
during a night
earlier.
shift, a construction
Also, this. Hold on.
worker named Jose needed help moving a giant heavy wooden cable reel. Jose is relieved when a fellow worker who he's never met suddenly offers to help him out. After they move the heavy cable reel, Jose looks back over to thank the young man. But he's disappeared.
He's disappeared. I'll come back to that thought I had in a second. Keep it coming, keep it coming. Okay, stop. Awesome. Whoa. Whoa. There's no one here. This one's kind of stupid. It's almost like that thing carried momentum into the frame.
Jose reports what happened to the security guard, Freddy, and to his foreman. But they tell Jose that he was the only worker on duty that night. He was completely alone on the job site. So as a matter of site security, they check the CCTV footage, and they're shocked by what they find.
Man, I think the scariest thing about it is
really
this
weird,
ghost is still
because Jose
fucking
spots a photo
working
on the
after
wall
death.
inside the office and recognizes the man in the picture as the man who helped him out that night. Security guard Freddy and Jose.
This dude looks... He's got the face of, like, so many people I know. I swear to God, he's got one of those faces.
Jose's foreman are chilled to their...
I don't really... I'm okay on this one. Let's go to the next one.
Slipping through the trees. A little while ago, I featured the creepy story of Lauren Combs, who over the course of a year captured multiple mysterious unexplained events in her home in Waco, Texas.
Waco!
Did you do that?
Poor dog. Dog's like, what's going on? What? What happened? Something like pulled her hair, apparently. I really hate the idea of having cameras all through my house, like some of these people do.
Oh my god.
Now, since these terrifying events, Lauren has installed a new security camera in her backyard, because eerily, a lot of the strange activity at her home.
She had a security camera in her living room before she had one in her backyard? I don't buy that at all.
Home seems to take place in the wooded area just behind her house. So late one night, Lauren...
It's a fucking wooded area, and she decided to put a camera in her living room to catch her hair getting pulled instead of putting it in the backyard? I don't know. I just don't follow that line of thinking.
Lauren is hanging out and casually playing some Call of Duty with her roommate when their dogs begin to totally freak out.
You don't casually play Call of Duty. That's another big fucking lie.
For no apparent reason. What happens next is all caught on camera.
Puppers. Looks like dogs doing dog things. Dogs doing dog things.
The dogs all seem freaked out by something that is going on outside the house. So Lauren checks her outside security cameras and sees something that chills her to her core.
Yeah, the sound and the music that Nuke adds so much to these clips, I'm telling you. Otherwise it would just be nonsense. Wouldn't feel creepy at all.
Someone or something can be seen quickly pacing or maybe even running back and forth
so
along the
fake.
tree line in Lauren's backyard. Lauren has no idea who or what this could be, and
Yeah,
is
but it had
extremely
to have been
disturbed by the
responsible
whole
for
experience,
the dogs
especially
doing
after
things.
everything else that has happened in the past. So just what do you think is going on here?
I think
and
she's
what
trying to get
is
attention
this?
on her TikTok.
Gate to Hell.
I like the title.
It's 3 a.m. and Cassandra is shocked awake by the sound of her two very disturbed pit bulls.
3
As
a.m.
she jumps from her bed and looks out of her bedroom window.
Also, I love pit bulls. Good dogs to have.
She quickly realizes why her dogs are so upset.
Oh, look at that
Her
dog.
outside garden gate is moving, violently clanging back and forth all by itself.
Recorded this on a Motorola Razr. We'll just have to take her word for it that there's no wind right now. I mean, this video is so low quality that I couldn't tell if the trees were moving. What is that? Again, you think you see a person in your backyard. Would you not call 911? It's not like... Yeah, you better get a flashlight. Yeah. Better point the camera at the floor. Oh yeah, get the breathing going. No, it's just a cat. Not a 6-foot-tall cat.
Now the gate moving by itself is shocking enough, but most terrifying of all, some very strange looking person appears to be standing.
So look at that. You're telling me, so my eyes, I don't know about her, but my eyes see a lot better than whatever the fuck we're looking at right now. Like I said, I have a phone, it's nighttime, so sure, it's not going to look as good. My phone would take a much better video than this. It almost feels like this was downgraded or some shit. But whole point of why I paused it. You would fucking call for help if you saw that in your backyard. If there was some dude stalking your backyard, would your first instinct not be to call for help? You run in and get a flashlight and go back on. Oh, it's just a cat.
Just outside the garden fence. Cassandra runs to grab a brighter flashlight, but when she returns,
she even says it's a person to herself. She says, it's a person, it's a person.
The mysterious figure has disappeared. She seems to hear something.
I don't buy it, dude. There's no survival instinct in any of these videos. There is no way that none of these people would fear for their lives if this situation was actually occurring.
Nearby and whispers, "Hello." As if in response to her greeting, someone violently pounds on.
Also, the gate wasn't moving anymore, as if the maybe the person who whispered hello had moved?
The door right beside her. Cassandra says that she called the police, but they didn't find anyone or anything around her property. So whatever this is, it remains unexplained. Wrong turn. Dirt bike rider
technically,
Ethan's
these
TikTok
all
is
remain
dedicated to
unexplained.
videos of his biking trips into the sand dunes and woods of Oregon. But one day, when he's 15 miles out into the woods and completely alone,
I think I've seen
he
this one.
experiences something that frightens him to his core.
Yeah, this one's a bunch of nonsense.
Kind of creepy.
You never know who to believe online, but I've seen some pretty convincing videos debunking this specific
This is where
video.
most people would turn around. If you turn around, you never get to see what's on the other side. That's where all the gold is waiting over there.
See, like, I don't hate that
Could be
dialogue.
missing out what's on the other side.
I watched a different YouTuber react to this specific clip. And he found the original video for this, and there was no people yelling for help or anything. Like I said, you never know who to believe when you hear people talk on the internet, but... And And this is the dude who comes back later at night, right? Or like really close to nighttime.
Ethan is shocked when he hears strange human-like sounds coming from the woods. He believes it's a voice saying, "Hey," and "help."
Be missing out what's on the other side.
I will say I really like the idea of Wendigos and stuff. People luring you, or not people, beasts or whatever they are, creatures luring you by yelling help or like maybe mimicking a voice, you know? That shit's real creepy. I love the idea of hearing like you're lying in bed, you know? You're about to fall asleep and you hear your own voice outside your door. That shit's fucking creepy.
Hello?
Ethan then hears strange movement in the brush that seems to be quickly moving towards him. He decides to just get out of there and is even so spooked that he runs right off the path and almost ends up falling right down the hill. When he posts the video to his TikTok page, he wonders if he might have had an encounter with a skinwalker or some kind of cryptid.
Yeah, that's
because
what I
you
was talking
see,
about.
it's rumored that a
Skinwalker or
strange
whatever.
creature wanders these woods. But many of his viewers just shrug it off. They say that he probably just heard a bobcat or maybe even a peacock.
It's definitely possible, by the way. But, like I said,
whether it was just a bobcat or a peacock,
supposedly those sound effects were inserted afterwards.
or not, many of Ethan's viewers want to see more. They ask Ethan over and over to return to that same spot in the woods to see what happens. So finally, Ethan
Would you not take someone with you?
decides to return, but he makes the very bad decision to return late in the day as the sun is starting to set. As you might guess, it did not go well.
Like, in what world do you return to this spot near dark? Unless you're trying to make a creepy video.
Something happens that no one can explain.
Oh god, bones are still here. I don't like this at all. Oh god, there's even more bones than last time. It's been a few months since I filmed the last video, because honestly I've just been too scared to come up here. Definitely a lot more overgrown than last time. I'm hoping that since it's been such a long time that I don't think anything will happen this time. I think that tree is actually gone.
Lawless
The road's
logic.
been cleared. Looks like we've already passed it a while ago, but that tree is gone. Oh! It's just dark as hell in here. I'm probably gonna turn around soon.
Paranormal stuff aside, I
Oh,
feel like it's
too late.
dangerous to go biking in the
Holy
woods at
crap,
night
dude,
by
this still
yourself.
going on forever.
Also, does it not look like he's on the edge of the woods? It looks exactly like he's on the edge of the woods.
It just got really quiet really fast.
Oh my god, the bike won't start. Why are you going that way? Back into the woods, dude. You were right on the edge of the fucking trees. There was a clearing
Yeah,
there.
that was my fucking cue to go. That was my cue to leave.
It's already getting dark when Ethan finds himself in a field and tries to decide which way to go next. All of a sudden, it gets really quiet as even the crickets seem to stop chirping.
This dude's either got the worst fucking survival instinct of all time, or it's fake.
Suddenly, an ominous-looking figure walks right out of the darkness of the tree line. Terrified, Ethan gets out of there as quickly as he can. So what do you think is going on here? Did Ethan find the creature that he heard months earlier?
Looks like a
Could this be
painting.
what many believe to be a skinwalker? Or is it all just an elaborate hoax? You decide. Beware the purple chair. Proud mother Martina claims that she and her family are terrorized by a dark supernatural entity that haunts their home. Martina has set up a series of static cameras to keep a safe watch on her children, but she also caught some footage that is absolutely unnerving.
Sure hope she's not scaring her kids. They kind of look like the wind. This kid fucking shit up. Talking shit.
Two doors move by themselves and the boy calls for his mother, but otherwise doesn't seem that concerned.
So that to me looked like a gust of wind. It already happened there. Because, hold on.
Two doors move by
So that door is closed originally, technically.
themselves and the boy calls for his mother, but otherwise doesn't seem that concerned.
But that looked exactly
But
like
as
what
he
it looks
continues
like
to play his video game, his chair is forcefully pushed backwards, finally sending
when
the
the
boy
wind fucks with the
running
door.
from mama. Cut to another day, and Martina is casually vacuuming
That kid was definitely a little big to be pushed by the wind, not talking shit.
the hallway carpet. Then this happens.
The kitchen laundry room? Kitchen laundry room. No, I don't think so. What the fuck?
Running from mama. Cut to another day, and Martina is casually vacuuming the hallway carpet.
Casually
Then
vacuuming.
this happens.
And then...
Again, a door moves by itself.
What is wrong with this vacuum? Well, she said Hoover, but...
And Martina's vacuum seems to...
Dude, this vacuum's floating!
...to float into the air as she hysterically slaps and screams at it until it just drops back to the ground.
So, like, I'm no goddamn expert, but if I was trying to debunk this, it really looks like...
Martina is casually...
air that lifts it in the way that it lifts. Watch. So, let's pretend that there's air coming out of the bottom of it right now. I don't know. It looked like it was being moved by air. In my opinion.
Again,
Also,
a door moves
I
by
do
itself,
like-
and Martina's vacuum seems to float into the air
I like
as she
her
hysterically
reaction.
slaps and screams at it until it just drops back to the ground. But the creepy activity doesn't stop there. Martina and her son are home alone one night when the living room security camera captures this.
Okay, is she calling 911? Because that's... I would believe it if she...
The outside door opens and closes on its own as the door handle rapidly rotates as if being turned by some invisible force.
What is the kid doing at the start of this video?
The outside...
Okay, so the kid's got his controllers lit up. It looks like he's actually playing. She's just chilling on her phone. Or just hanging out, having some bonding
door
time.
opens
And then the door starts doing its thing again.
and closes on its own as the
I would fully say that's probably not the wind.
door handle rapidly rotates as if being turned by some invisible force.
This reaction right here is what I would expect if she's attempting to, like, preemptively put in 911 or something. Because that's what I would do.
Tina grabs her phone and is about to record the door when the purple desk
Is about to record the door? See, I don't agree with that.
chair suddenly glides toward her and her son. The two have
Okay, and then they group up.
had enough and are about to hurry out of the living room, but something seems to forcefully pull it.
And then something weird's happening with the
Martina's sweat-
video there, though. Do you see that?
Glides toward her and her son. The two have had enough and are about to hurry out of the living room, but something seems to forcefully pull at
Looked weird.
Tina's sweater.
That looks super weird.
So is this real poltergeist activity caught on camera? Or is it all just an elaborate hoax? You decide. Attachments. Daniel Thompson from California lives with his mother in a house.
So with that last one, I would just sincerely hope the kid was at least in on it, assuming that it was fake. Kid was older, so he might not get scared by just like being introduced to it. But that other kid in that clip before, with like the hanging man and shit, fuck you up.
Completely filled with his mom's collection.
Also, there's still 15 minutes left of this video, and that was number 1.
Collection of antique dolls, furniture, and vintage trinkets.
Hey guys, gonna get a little tour of my place.
I'm gonna call it there. Maybe I'll come back and finish it, but yeah, I was gonna play Diablo. Just kind of got caught up watching videos. If you're watching, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.